In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the C3 Friday Free For All, where you get an opportunity to come on the C3 Podcast and tell us what you think about these Carolina Panthers going forward. We're currently 5-7, a lot to talk about. This is your show for you, by you, man. Some real 90s FUBU going on up in here, man. If you want to join the show, the link is in the description of the Facebook and the YouTube video, and I will also be posting it sporadically in the chat room throughout the day. Without further ado, let's jump into this. I'm joined by some free-for-all faithful, Nick Montero. What's up, brother?
What up, Cody? Just hanging out on this Friday night with some great friends, and also ready to talk about the Carolina Panthers football.
Yes, sir, man. Contrary to what we might be feeling, the Panthers are still alive, man. We're still alive moving forward. You know, the players obviously feel like they have a lot to play for, and we're going to discuss it today. Longtime Panther faithful, Panther fan, C3 fan, Kenneth, Panther Pickle. What's going on, bro?
What's up, boys? Glad to be here. I've tried real hard this week to look up. It sure is hard, but
I appreciate
looking down don't always work.
Hey, man, I feel like all of you guys have been putting in tremendous work, man. I certainly appreciate it. Yeah, we're going to have a good show today. And I know you've been involved in some of these Twitter conversations, too. So you really got your ear to the ground. It'll be fun. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Then we're joined by my man, Drew AJ Lindsay, with the brand new PC setup. Let's go. Looking crisp, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Ready for a great show tonight. And yeah, trying, like Panther Pickle said, trying to keep looking up, but it's kind of difficult. But
I feel it, man. I feel it. Well, so before we get going, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Help us grow C3 Panther Podcast, one subscriber at a time. Tell a friend. And so without further ado, let's jump into this. I don't know how many of you here got the opportunity to listen to Jeff Nixon's introductory podcast, press conference, but I really liked what I heard from him. And frankly, I think a lot of Panther fans have. And it even got me wondering, you know, since he has such a connection to Matt Rhule, he has, you know, a long history with this man. But then, you know, that prompted me to look into his history and listen to this man's resume. He was a Penn State graduate assistant in 97, running backs coach at Princeton in 98. And from 1999 to 2002, he was the running backs coach at Shippensburg. From 2003 to 2005, he was the running backs coach, tight ends coach, and special teams coach at Chattanooga. In 2006, he was the wide receiver coach and running backs coach at Temple. Then, we're not done. I know. He has a long resume, man. Then, from 2007 to 2010, he was the offensive assistant and special teams assistant for the Philadelphia Eagles. From 2011 to 2015, he was the running backs coach for the Miami Dolphins. In 2016, he was the tight ends coach for the San Francisco 49ers. In 2017 to 2019, the co-offensive coordinator and running backs coach at Baylor. And to top it all off, starting in 2020, he was the Panthers running back coach. Let me catch my breath for a minute. Dude, I mean, when you listen and list all of those things, it raises the question, man, if Matt Rhule had so much history with this guy, you've brought Phil Snow to be the defensive coordinator who has been with you the entire time. It would seem as though he had a similar relationship to Jeff Nixon. I wonder why this wasn't the first offensive coordinator that Matt Rhule decided to hire. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Not much Matt Rhule does makes a lot of sense these days.
That's an understatement.
I believe I don't really have any proof. I've tried to find some, but I believe that Tepper brought him here because Tepper wanted a offensive guru as his head coach, and when he went to talk to Matt Rhule, after all, Marty Herney was leading the scouting for head coaches, so to speak. They went to talk to Matt Rhule. He would just fell in. That's just he believed everything Matt Rhule was talking about. Kind of fell in head over heels. Then I'm wanting to think I heard him on a podcast or the radio or somewhere say, maybe a video, that since he didn't get the type of head coach he wanted, he was going to go out and get the best offensive coordinator. And I know Matt Rhule says he hired him. Maybe he did, but it's like my mama used to do in the store. She'd take you to the store, have you pick out the clothes. She said, it's your choice, but here's the stuff you should buy. Here's the stuff that I want you to buy. Here's the stuff that would be better for you. And before you know it, you was buying that stuff because your mama wants you to buy it. So
yeah, I mean, no, that's a good point. And then JD here on the screen, who will be joining us later, he says that it was a tried and true Tepper hire.
Yep,
and I think a lot of people kind of think that. So it really has me, it really has me wondering, especially when you hear them. I feel like I'm a good judge of character. Like when you hear someone talking about football, you can tell if they're faking it or not. And, there was always a little bit of uncertainty with Joe Brady, and I kind of felt like he just wasn't a good people person, maybe, so it didn't come off well. But I got an entirely different vibe from listening to Jeff Nixon, and I really do think this guy, if given a little bit of time, might have the ability to potentially win the job outright, especially if we show some signs of life here. I could easily foresee him, like this is his resume, or this is his, going to be his time to prove himself that he deserves to stay in this position. Drew, do you think that's possible for Jeff going forward?
It's always possible, but honestly, I see Matt Rhule as being his biggest hindrance. Matt Rhule's been everybody's hindrance on this team. Phil Snow's defense. Yeah, they've had their ups and downs, but because Matt Rhule doing what he does caused the defense to have their biggest issues. They're on the field too much because of Matt Rhule and Joe Brady not having a good grasp on the offense. But honestly, I don't think anything's going to change until they figure out this offensive line. The offensive line is the key to this football team. And here we go again with Matt Rhule and his, Brady Christian's arms are too small, so he's got to be a guard, and we got to put Cam Irvin back at tackle, and Dennis Daly has to be in at guard. I'm like, this guy's never going to learn. And until we get this offensive line squared away, I don't care if we brought Rob Jasinski back as the offensive coordinator. This team is going nowhere until Matt Rhule either one, gets his head out of his ass and gets rid of this whole, the guy's arms are too short, so even though he's never played guard a day in his life until the NFL, we're going to stub him in at guard. It's not going anywhere. And I hate to say that because I love my Panthers and everything, but Matt Rhule is the biggest hindrance we have at this point.
And then today in his press conference, he said that Brady Christensen and Dennis Daly will be basically they'll be rotating the guard position to see if one of them can hold him there. Cam Irving is reported to be coming back, and they expect him to play. So Cam Irving is going to be seemingly starting back at left tackle this Sunday at home against the Falcons. Let me join Brad to this conversation. Brad, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm just excited because, if he doesn't like Brady Christensen's arm length, that means that we're not drafting Kenny Pickett because that dude has, midget fingers.
Dude, honestly. It's so cringe, man. Like hearing I don't know. Whenever I hear that a guy's hands are too small, it's like, I mean, dude, what do you want him to do, man? Same thing with the arm length. It's like, is the guy playing that position successfully or not? It's just, it's kind of confusing to me, to say the least. Adding Justin to the stream. Justin, what's up, brother? Justin, you there? Well, I'll wait till Justin
Oh,
gets
he's
it.
muted.
Yeah,
No, you're good. Yeah, you got your microphone, bro?
yeah.
You,
I was kind of busy trying to clean up.
no, you're good, man. You're good, man. What's up?
Not much. I was just listening to you guys while I was cleaning up, and I agree with what Drew was saying. Like, I actually agree with what you and Drew were saying. Like, I think I get a good vibe from Nixon, but Rhule is making his job a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Christensen played. I've said it before. The dude played left tackle throughout his entire college career. He was the highest graded left tackle on the team so far this season.
No. He was the highest graded left tackle in college history via PFF.
Yeah.
I don't want. It's lost on people. They keep saying, "Oh, his grade was really high." He was the highest graded left tackle ever.
And I can't. Like, I want the team to succeed, and by consequence, that means Coach Rhule would need to succeed. But at the same time, I was watching a video where he spoke on the whole guard situation. It's like, come on, man. Like, I might be mistaken, but I'm fairly certain in college, Daly was a starting left guard. They got kicked out the left tackle because there was an injury there. But he played left guard in college. And here you have a young man in Christensen who played left tackle, and for whatever reason, you refuse to put him at that position. You don't seem to want to put Deontay Brown out there with, like, his weight. His weight didn't seem to bother him in college. And I know the NFL is a different game, but his weight didn't bother him in college. It didn't seem to bother him in the preseason. So what are you really doing? Like, you're not setting – I said this before. A coach's responsibility is to put everyone in a position to succeed. So the higher you are on that coaching tree, the more people you need to make sure are in a proper place. That includes the coaches. With Rhule making the decision to not play these young dudes or putting guys out of position, he's screwing the entire team, the organization, and the fan base over.
Yeah, it's almost like Matt Rhule is doing the exact opposite thing that a coach should be doing. He's putting our players in a position to fail instead of a position to succeed. I mean, so much of being a coach is utilizing a player's talents where they're best suited, and it just seems so lost on Matt Rhule. I wanted to read this out. If you're not following John Ellis on Twitter, check him out. Is at One Panther Place. He put this on Twitter today, and I felt that it was interesting to read here on the show. He says, I've spoken with 5 different folks from around the league today in various evaluation/coaching capacities, past and present. None of them fully understand the obsession over Brady Christensen's arm length. These aren't fellow analysts or journalists. These are position coaches, evaluators, former players, well-respected group of NFL guys. It's not just resonating with them. So there's that. I'm not going after anybody here. And then it goes on to pretty much say that it's like, you know, that so many people in coaching positions are baffled by his, you know, this obsession with measurables, that it seems so counterintuitive. And to add on to what Brad was saying earlier, not only was he one of the highest graded left tackles ever by PFF, but when you look at his combine performance, his combine, his athletic grading for a left tackle was also amongst the best in that year's draft class. And I also think one of the, top 10 combine performances, if that's even a thing, ever. So it really not only has me confused, it has us confused, NFL people confused. But there's one more person that it has confused, and then I'm going to pass the mic on this, is our very own Jordan Gross. who had some thoughts to say about this very, very
Go in the
topic.
third round, kind of the only thing you can see is they're a little worried about his arm length. So he's got 32-inch arms, which they think is below the threshold for what a tackle can be. But arm length does matter, Jake, right? So if you're if your arms are a foot taller than mine, you're going to be able to touch your technique can make up, and your hand placement and how good you are hitting target when you're punching and pass throw can make up for arm length any day of the week, and your pass sets and your footwork and all that stuff. Arm length, I got him by an inch and a quarter. I wonder right there, I was 33 and a quarter. I'm assuming they're still that long. Arm length. Maybe they're a little longer because I've lost some girth in my chest. I wonder if they are long. Anyway, his arm's 32. So are we here to assume that the inch and a quarter arm length difference maybe kept me out of being a third round pick? Who knows, right? Isn't that interesting? Why did he go?
So there you have it. Also, some confusion for Jordan Gross, and that's one of the things that I've championed for a long time. That technique and what you do at the position matters so much more than your physical deficiencies. Thoughts on any of those things?
Well,
I
and
think
that's
I'm very glad that we didn't draft Rashawn Slater, because he would either be sitting on the bench or they would have him playing right guard somewhere because they say, oh, his arms are too short. But thank goodness he went to the Chargers, and now he's going to be an all-pro left tackle and probably a Pro Bowler this year as a rookie.
He looks like the best left tackle in the NFL. Go ahead, Brad.
Well, and I believe that Matt Rhule's on record saying to Rashawn, the reason they didn't draft Rashawn Slater was because his arms were too short to play left tackle. But anyway, the thing that people don't realize is if you watch the film on Brady Christensen, right, he's sound. His technique is sound. He's not like – he's got the athleticism. He's got the technique to overcome those deficiencies. And if not just seasoned analysts but other position coaches can see that, I don't understand how our staff is incapable of seeing that. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's baffling, to say the least, that we continue to run up against this very same issue where Matt Rhule is just such a stickler about this, man. And then, to start Cam Irving over him, I really don't know what to make of this. I wonder if David Tepper has any inclination about like the fans talking about this as much as we do. Like normally the tackle position doesn't get too much fanfare unless you're diehards like us. But it really does seem like even the people in the media are making it a point to really question Matt Rhule on this philosophy and why they're deciding to play what players wear.
Well, and can I ask the question, like, do we think there's a world where we actually draft a left tackle next year? Because, I mean, let's just assume that Matt Rhule is going to be here for another year, right? Let's make that assumption. Let's not argue about it. Let's just make peace with it and be sad inside, right? But let's assume that we go into the first round and we have, let's just say we bomb the rest of the season. We have the number 5 overall pick, right? Mm-hmm. What's the likelihood that we actually take a left tackle? Or do the left tackles in this coming class have the dimensions, the measurables to the point where he's going to take one? And if this is Matt Rhule's last, if he knows, this is my third year, I have to make it's boom time or else I'm done. Is he going to use that number 5 overall pick on a quarterback?
Matt Rhule should be barred from drafting a quarterback in the first round. That's when David Tepper should step up and say, you can draft whatever you want except for a quarterback in the first round.
Well, and then the other question is, are we even going to have that 5th overall pick? Because the rumor has it, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson are all going to be on the trade block again. And most NFL insiders predict that all 3 will be with different teams next year. So are we going to not even bother? Are we just going to make peace with the fact that we're not going to have a big pick on day 1 or day 2 because we went all in on a quarterback, one of those 3?
I don't see us doing that.
If we do that, we won't have a pick day 1 or day 2. We won't have a pick day 1 for the next 3 years.
Right. Well, and that's the thing that people don't realize, because I still see a little bit of discussion online about, the whole let's go ahead and trade for Deshaun Watson. You don't understand people that keep bringing this up, or even trading for Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. Those trade packages are designed to cripple whatever team trades for it. They're designed so that you're trading away not only picks but potentially players who are going to. The idea is that you trade those assets away, and the idea that you're going to be giving up a top 10 pick year after year after year.
Well, and I found out that Russell Wilson, he has a no trade clause. So if Russell Wilson was going to go anywhere, he also, like Deshaun, would be able to hand pick whichever place he'd be willing to lift that clause for.
Well, he already said it's so right now it's Denver, it's New Orleans, and it's New York. The Giants.
Well,
that said that he didn't say that.
Yeah, so he came out and tried to deny that. Now his denial might not mean shit. There's still like that might have been the legitimate list, but it just ended up getting out when he didn't want it to get out. But if it is or isn't true, you have to think about what would Carolina's what are our chances of being one of the teams that Russell Wilson would even want to go to when one of his main gripes is about offensive line. So it doesn't seem like that would make too much sense. Then when you're talking about Deshaun, you're looking at 3 first-round picks. You're looking at players. And so here's the thing, man. One, with Deshaun, you're having to hope that, one, he gets over all these accusations, which isn't very likely in and of itself. But then number 2, if you're going to trade for that guy, well, it'd be one thing if we knew that Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown were the future. Because then we're not that many picks away from building him a competent offensive line. We already have the young receivers. Robbie's not going anywhere. We know we're going to have Terrace Marshall Jr. We know we're going to have Shi Smith. DJ. So he's not a freak. We could do a 5th round
contract for at least next year. That's his 5th-year option.
Yeah, right. So we could pick up the 5th-year option, and he may or may not play under that. But it's like now we don't even know, even if we did trade all of that for Deshaun, we don't know if this is a kind of team that would be able to utilize his talent, let alone the same argument that he would even want to come here.
Well, and that's the thing that most people don't realize, right? Everybody, there's a lot of chat on Twitter, a lot of scuttlebutt that we're a quarterback and we're an offensive line away. No, we're not. We're a quarterback, an offensive line, a number 1 wide receiver, a free safety, linebacker depth, defensive tackle depth. We have a ton of holes on this roster.
Brad, you forgot one. We're also a head coach away.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking from personnel perspective. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I don't think Rhule's not the guy who's going to do this. I'm sorry, he's not.
Right.
I'm right there with you on that. And you know what? I think the other part of the problem too is Dave Tepper. I think that's the reason why we went with Joe Brady. I think Dave Tepper said that you got to make this one work. He's going to put asses in seats. Same reason why I feel like we drafted Terrace Marshall Jr. in the 2nd round to put asses in seats. And I think Terrace Marshall will work out in the long run, once he actually gets factored in. But Matt Rhule, he just doesn't have it. Now, our new offensive coordinator, or at least the interim one, I have a lot of confidence in just because he actually has real experience. But as far as personnel choices, I'm not happy with it, man. We got to get this offensive line down to 1 formation, at least at some point this season. And we don't have many weeks left. Like, how are we going to know what we have if we don't finalize something?
That's a great point. Go ahead, Justin.
That's the thing that doesn't make sense to me, because we could honestly be looking at a situation where we have you plug Christensen in at left tackle for the remaining games, and as a rookie, let's say he's average, and you put Deontay Brown out there, and he's a rookie, he's average. You have what's the center's name? Irving.
Our center right now is Pat Elflein. It's been Matt Paradis.
Yes, and he hasn't been terrible. So and from what I saw, Michael Jordan seemed to be a pretty good left guard. So you could have a situation where you have a league average offensive line with 2-3 rookies on it. So they get the experience, and then next year they take a step forward. So when you start talking about the draft, you legitimately only need the draft for depth, guys that you could develop. It's ridiculous to sit here and to be, as fans, to sit here and say this guy should be doing X, Y, and Z. Why is the coach going against it? Like, it makes no sense. This team could be so much better right now than what it is, and it starts with the head coach. Like, and from my 2 cents on it is, if we look like crap, if there's just there's only 5 games left in the season. If we look like shit in one, I want Rhule gone. If the team goes out there for all 5 games, they look like they doing everything they can to win, I'm cool with him getting another year. Hell, if we somehow go 5-0, cool, he gets another year. If we go 5-0 and we look like shit, I want him gone. Like, I want to see how the team looks on the field. And right now, like, again, as a Carolina Panthers fan, I want the team to succeed. I want Rhule to succeed. But if he's fucking shit up, he can kick rocks.
Yeah, and a lot of people. Let me. Okay, this is kind of a dumb question because I know everybody wants to win, especially against Atlanta. But like, we're inevitably at that time of season where people are like, "Well, if we start to lose, or if we start to win, we're just messing up our draft position." And it's like, I didn't think that we would be anywhere near that kind of discussion at this point in the season. So it's just so it's upsetting, man, to know that we're having the same conversations about the offensive line that we had before the season started. It's like we take 2 steps forward and take 4 steps back. It as cliche as that sounds, and it all boils down to Matt Rhule mismanaging a lot of his decisions on the roster, like we've documented many times before. I want to go back to something that Nick said. Like, I've never hesitate to put all of the blame on a billionaire whenever I get the opportunity to. So it's like, do we think that David Tepper has been the guy whispering all the decisions in people's ear for a long time now? Now we're theorizing that Joe Brady, that was purely a splash hire by David Tepper. Like, do we think that David Tepper is really the one calling all the shots here?
I don't. I think he had influence over them signing Cam Newton. I think that he's definitely the one who hired Rhule, and I think he and Rhule in turn hired Fitterer together. But the problem is like, you kind of, he's got he doesn't exactly give you any confidence in his ability to select staff at all. And that's the problem. Even if he's not the one making the decision, you can't trust that he's putting people in charge that are making good decisions.
Yeah. Hey, so real quick, let me pivot this conversation back to Jeff Nixon. I didn't get a few of you guys' thoughts on Jeff. One, to Brad and Justin, did either of you get a chance to listen to his introductory press conference, and what did you make of him, and do you think that he should have been here potentially sooner? Or, but no, erase that last part of the question. What do you think his chances of actually being successful going forward are?
I did listen to his press conference. I'm going to be real. I don't think he's got a whole lot of. I think if the idea is that you're going to run the ball 30 to 35 times a game, that's not a sustainable way to win games. I mean, I know the Patriots did it, but that was dictated by the scheme of the opposing team and the weather. I mean, that's not something that you should be doing on a daily basis or on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be real with you guys as far as Joe Brady is concerned. I didn't think he was all that bad. I mean, I think that the last season when he had a more competent quarterback, he had better offensive line play. We got to actually see what he could do. And to be quite frank, he had 4 players go over 1,000 yards. I mean, that's schematically, I don't think that he was the problem with this team. I think the personnel, the quarterback they brought in that turns the ball over 13 times in 9 games is the part of the problem. And I think the offensive line that it ranks 31st in as far as pass blocking goes and 27th as far as run blocking goes is your problem. I think the personnel decisions. Look, Cam Irving and Pat Elflein were their day one choices. That is just crazy to me.
Yeah,
That's incompetency. It just is. Anybody with a half a brain that watches NFL knows them guys failed before we signed them. They failed wherever they went. To sign them with the first day of free agency, when that first happened, I thought, okay, they jumped the gun to get some backups, but okay, that's what I thought. I didn't really think they were stupid enough to realize those folks thought those folks would start, but they did. This week I've heard some current Panthers offensive linemen make comments about Nixon that he really encourages their hand placement. One of them, I thought it was Brady Christensen, but I'm not going to say that because I might be wrong. It may not have been him. One said that Jeff Nixon jumped the entire offensive line this week over their hand placements alone. They said you got to have better hand placements when you're placing your hands. Yeah, it's imperative to have better hand placements. They said they didn't come out and say it, but it was hinted around that Joe Brady never did that. Joe Brady depended on his offensive line staff to do that, which they didn't. So, I mean, the staff, give or take either way, whatever they put together failed, whether it was Tepper or whether it was Rhule that brought Joe Brady here. I liked Joe Brady at first, but for whatever reason, it's not working. So, I like Nixon. I think Nixon's got a better head on his shoulders for what we need to do right now.
yeah.
But it was like Joe Brady was pitting a round, a round piece in a square hole. It wasn't going to fit to start with.
Yeah,
Well,
but yeah,
100%. Yeah, and the that goes back to Deere
Lack of experience.
Tepper, yeah, his lack of experience. And even if this is a system he wants to run, if he had experience would tell him, okay, I can't run this. I'm going to have to adapt to this over here.
Yeah.
Brady just never did that. I mean, I personally believe he's going to be a good coach, maybe head coach someday, but just not right now.
So one more thing. So I'm giving a big shout out to John Ellis here on Twitter. He uploaded this. It's a video clip of all the drop backs from Cam Newton and the Panthers against the Dolphins, and to kind of echo a little bit about what Brad said. It's like I think that Joe Brady kind of, I'm not going to die on this hill that it was absolutely imperative that Joe Brady be fired or kept one way or the other. Like I do agree with Brad. Like I mean, if you go through some of this tape, there's a lot of missed opportunities. There's a lot of times where they just get home with the blitz, just like this, and they play aggressive. They were in Cam's face. Even a few of the throws that he made were good. And then there are plays like this where when the pocket, is able to afford Cam some good protection, you give him some time to throw, and Cam can throw the ball downfield when receivers get open. It's like you have to give him the opportunity to do so and get into a rhythm. And I think you would start to see, some good things like that. Real quick, let me add Brian Lamont and Dave from P&P to the podcast. Dave, we'll start with you. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? What's up?
Happy to have you, man. Happy to have you, man. Talking about some Jeff Nixon, and going through a little bit of film posted by John Ellis here. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Like the Jeff Nixon, that whole situation I have so many questions.
Yeah.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of us do. And then Brian, what's going on with you, bro?
Yeah, how you doing, guys? I've just got one question. Why is American football so gay?
No, Lord. Hey, cool voice.
Well,
Anyway, let's bring,
he had to mask his voice, right?
yeah. Anyway, let's bring my man Kevin Boshoven onto the stream.
What's
Kevin,
up?
what's going on? Hey man,
Yeah, I
I'll
got a
take a
question, guys.
yeah, yeah, man. I'll take a shit talking Irishman before I will a guy flashing his junk any day of the week. So
Oh,
Very
definitely.
much
yeah,
true.
yeah, that works out. But
It
yeah,
didn't happen, it didn't happen again, did it?
no, it didn't happen
No.
again. No,
Okay, just making sure.
no.
Not yet.
Thank goodness.
One,
But don't
once was
jinx
enough.
us. You never know. Yeah, once was enough. But yeah. So look, and I'll just let this play in the background while we're while we're talking, having this conversation here. This is all Cam Newton's dropbacks. But Dave, I'll let you go on that a little bit. What confused you about the Jeff Nixon thing? I don't know if you heard what I said earlier, but like after reading off that guy's resume, I'm like, man, why? It seems like that should have been the offensive coordinator from jump. If you have a guy that has, I mean, look, Jeff Nixon has more NFL coaching experience than Matt Rhule does. He's been with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been with the Miami Dolphins. He's been with the San Francisco
sure does.
49ers. It's like, dude, like, why wasn't this his go-to guy from the jump if that was his offensive coordinator?
Here's my thing, man. And I said this during the live show on Sunday when this news broke. I didn't realize Jeff Nixon was African American, but once I realized he was African American and then I saw his resume, everything made sense. Like, and the thing that bothered me is that was Rhule's guy, and he still didn't give him the opportunity to be an NFL offensive coordinator until Joe Brady stunk up.
Did you see the picture of him? I guess they were in school together, and they were in they were all dressed up. They had their tie and everything. Like they go way back. But then a lot of us are thinking now we're and I think it at least warrants the discussion about was his initial hiring all David Tepper's decision, because he wanted a flashy hire to go alongside with Matt Rhule, because I don't think Matt Rhule had enough tenure to be able to tell David Tepper no if David Tepper said to him, hey, I want Joe Brady. Look what he just did at LSU.
But the problem I have is, like, I've always had that theory that Joe Brady was a Tepper hire. I've always felt that way. But the way that Rhule is answering the questions make it seem like it was Rhule's decision. He wanted to change it up. So it makes me question a lot of things. Like, I have to backpedal just a tad off of my theory, because Rhule pretty much said, yo, I'm the one that made a decision to bring Joe Brady in. So he's taking ownership of it. But when I heard of the Joe Brady hire, the first thing I thought was it was a Tepper hire. I always thought it was a Tepper hire.
Plus, when he interviewed, I think for the Jets, didn't he want full roster control?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, he did. That's why he didn't take the job, is because they wouldn't give him. They wanted to hire his coaches in full roster control, and he wouldn't give none of that up. I believe it was, and I tried to make his dialogue earlier. I don't know if y'all experienced. I did growing up. Mama took me to the store, said, pick you out a shirt and your pants, your school clothes, beginning of the year. I would go out and pick what I want. She said, now listen, son, this is what you want, but this one over here looks better. This one over here is priced better. This one over here fits you better. This one over here don't. And pretty soon you're buying what Mama wants you to buy anyway, but you get to walk out there thinking you bought it or you picked it.
Yeah.
And I believe that's a lot. I mean, imagine Tepper say flying Joe Brady out there from California or wherever LSU rather to Charlotte, saying, Matt Rhule, here's Joe Brady. This is the guy I like. This is the guy I'm impressed with. Now, granted, it's your job, but this is the guy we need to hire. And oh, by the way, we've already worked the numbers. He's very good at. We can really afford him just like this. So pretty much, Matt Rhule's like, well, I guess I'll hire him then.
Well, that's the thing, right? If it was if it was a Tepper decision, then I can understand why Rhule's hands were tied, right? Because at that point, you ain't letting the man even hire his own coaching staff.
Yeah.
Like, so, but Rule's gotta. I don't know if Rule's trying to protect his spot, protect his job, or what. Because I've always thought that Joe Brady was a temporary hire. But if Rule's saying that he brought him in, I got to give him the benefit of the doubt at that point. But at the same time, then I'm going to question, why in the hell didn't you give your own guy the chance?
Yeah, and then you can say that he made him a running backs coach, but and that to me. So this is kind of what I think. I think that when Matt Rhule was brought in, he originally had his eyes set on bringing in Matt Rhule as on bringing in Phil Snow as his defensive coordinator, as we all know, and he did. And then I think that Jeff Nixon was probably his first choice for offensive coordinator. I tend to think that David Tepper just stepped in there and said, "Yeah, man, we're gonna go and get Joe Brady and see if he can bring that explosive LSU offense to Carolina." And again, I don't know any of this for certain, but that's just my speculation. Hey, bro, Sea Dog was on here, man. I was getting ready to introduce you. Come back on, bro. This is
right here. I see him.
Oh, see, there you're still there, bro. My StreamYard messes up on me sometimes. See, what's up, bro? See, dog, you there?
He's there, but he ain't there.
Are you muted yourself, C-Dog?
Yeah, you might be muted.
No, he ain't muted.
No, he ain't muted.
No. Hey, try coming back in a second, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, my StreamYard acts weird sometimes, bro. That's crazy.
I got to elevate this camera a bit.
Yeah, man. But no. So but yeah,
But
that's kind of Go ahead. My last point is that it seems to me that David Tepper has proven himself to be the kind of guy that will basically scream and shout until he gets his way because he's used to doing that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's big boss, man. Like, people forget that he's the richest owner in the NFL, man, after the Seattle owner died.
Yeah,
the thing
he
with
also
people,
go ahead, Brett.
I'm going to be real with you guys. Like, I fully expect us to trade for Deshaun Watson, and I expect it to be 3 first-round picks and 3 defensive starters. Like, it's going to happen because he's going to go into this offseason just like he was last season, dedicated to trying like hell to find that franchise quarterback. And Deshaun Watson might be the only proven talent that they can go ahead and get.
So basically, if he does that, that means Cam's not coming back next season.
I don't think he's coming back, period.
But
guys.
Wait, hey, let's try this one more time. Sea Dog, we got you? No, your audio is not picking up, bro. We can't hear you, man. Change your audio, and I'll try and bring you back in, bro.
Deshaun Watson does have that no trade clause, and he's already said before that he does not want to go to Carolina.
But let me tell you, I don't believe none of that with Deshaun. Because
no, I do.
I think when it gets when it comes down to brass tacks, it's going to be anywhere but Houston, because we don't know, dude. With all the accusations that he has against him, man. Like, I honestly think at any point in time, if he can get out of Houston and go play football, dude, I think he's gone, man. I
don't agree with that. I think the man's making all this money because Houston hasn't really budged. He's pretty much made a lot of money just to being active every week. He ain't had to lift a finger, and all he's got to do is show up and train with the guys occasionally. Eventually, Houston's going to have to break, or they're just going to pay the man till his contract's up. It's going to be one or the other.
Yeah, but then think about this. But think about this too. What if Miami stays with Tua? Like, Tua's starting to come on, starting to look. I mean, he torched our ass. He
also said Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia. And they got the picks.
Yeah, I don't.
They do have the picks. What are you talking about?
Philadelphia got.
That's what I said. They do have the
2 top
3
10
first round picks.
Yeah, they got 3. Yeah, they got 3 first round picks. Yeah, man, they got the trade to do it, but who knows? Like, they might decide to stay with Jalen Hurts. I haven't followed Philadelphia that much this season, so like, I hear a lot of good about Jalen. I hear some bad about Jalen. I don't know if he's the long term.
A heartbeat to get Deshaun Watson. If his legal troubles clear up, they will give all 3 first round picks this year and call it good.
Yeah. Yeah. So then again, that leaves the Panthers.
From what I hear about Philadelphia, and I've got several friends at work that are hardcore Philadelphia fans. They're claiming that if that happens, the head coach will lose the locker room real fast because they like Jalen Hurts, they support Jalen Hurts, and that locker room doesn't want nobody else.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, they're getting paid. If
it is a job.
If they bring him there, man, like the quarterback's gonna be whoever the GM says it is. Like they might lose the locker room, but if it's a Deshaun if Deshaun's still one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, like they ain't really got no choice. Hey, let's try this a third time. Maybe third time's the charm. C Dog, what's up, bro? Dang, C Dog must live in the void. We can't hear you, bro.
No luck.
Yeah, man, no audio, man. If you're talking, we can't hear you at least, brother. So maybe change your audio input or something. I don't know what to tell you, man. I want to get you on here, man. I've been trying to get you on this Friday free for all to come talk some shit with me, bro. We just can't hear you. But message me in the private chat if you want me to try again, C Dog. But
I believe not Tua. I got me on sidetrack here. I believe that Deshaun Watson situation is going to get handled this year if this legal stuff's worked out. But I don't believe that Houston's going to get what they want for Watson. I believe a lot of teams aren't going to give them what they want just because they're not certain he's worth it. Yes, talented he is. That goes without saying. But, does the legal problems follow him?
Well, I mean,
legal issues generally follow an NFL player wherever he goes.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know who among us can say for certain what's going to happen with Deshaun's, all of his issues, man, all the different counts. The last time I heard that it's not going to go to trial until potentially February.
Yeah.
So, we really don't know when this is going to have any kind of resolution.
Yeah.
But, I wanted to kind of pivot back to this matchup with the Atlanta Falcons. The Panthers are not eliminated. We are not eliminated. So we have an opportunity. We're 5-7. We're 5-7 with the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. What are the chances in your mind that the offense comes out and looks better than it has before? Like, do you think now that Cam Newton has had some more time to be with the team, like now we're going to be able to kind of figure some things out?
It won't look better until we put Brady Christensen in at left tackle and keep him there.
Forget about it. It's over. It's not happening.
Yeah, that's I've kind of I've looked up. I mentioned this before we went live, but Travell Wharton. I don't know if all of y'all remember Travell Wharton. Travell Wharton,
number 70.
Yeah, he had the exact same arm length as Brady Christensen. 32.25, the exact same. Now, Travell Wharton started at left tackle for the Panthers for 3 years. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I don't think that was what they truly wanted to do, but it was John Fox at the time. Travell did a good job, so we're just going to leave him there until we figure something else out. Well, then in 2009, they drafted they had they drafted two people in the first round. Jeff
Jonathan Stewart and Otah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when they moved Gross over to left tackle, and Travell Wharton kicked inside, where a lot of people said he should have been to start with at the time because that was more of his natural position, and he played better at left guard than he did at tackle, but he still played left tackle. But that goes back to why does Matt Rhule on this? I understand, whatever the reasons are, Matt Rhule's got a thing for this, and I said it before. I know last week I was on here, and I swore that they were going to draft Kenny Pickett. Going through all this, he can't draft Kenny Pickett now. Kenny Pickett's got small hands, and Brady Christensen's got small arms. You can't have two of them people in the wrong spots now.
Let me tell you something. The biggest difference of what you just said is that when they moved Travell Wharton from left tackle to left guard, they had a better player to put there. That's
right.
the big difference.
You're right.
Brady Christensen is way better than Cam Irvin. Everybody here knows Cam Irvin should barely be on a football team, let alone start.
And the offense was set up different. Fox always had 2 blocking tight ends. They weren't really receiving tight ends. They were blocking because he preferred his. If you were tight end for John Fox and you couldn't block, you didn't play for John Fox.
I like my tight ends to block too, so I kind of agree with it.
So I mean, he flat out did not play.
All I'm gonna say is this: it's a blessing in disguise that we didn't draft Rashawn Slater, because we would have been devastated to find out that he thought him as a guard.
Yeah,
right.
We would have been devastated. We would have been taking him at 8, thinking he was gonna be our left tackle. And we'd be out here hoping he plays at guard.
I don't think we filled the left tackle position this offseason. At least not in the draft.
Yeah, we did. We picked up Cam Irvin on the first day of free agency.
He's saying this next
offseason.
Oh, this next one, yeah. I think left tackle's it. But my concern is, depending on how the rest of the season go, because I think we're going to probably win 2 more games, so we might be out of the running to get the top guy.
So who we beating? Who do you think is a win on the schedule going forward?
I mean,
how about Atlanta? Like,
we should be able to beat Atlanta.
Do y'all favor the Panthers to beat the Falcons this weekend?
Yeah,
we should.
Unfortunately, we're favored, and unfortunately, I think we're going to win. But at this point, I hate to say this because I've been a Panthers fan since day one.
No tank.
I don't even want to call it tanking. I want them to play, but I would rather go ahead and lose out the rest of the season if it meant Matt Rhule was gone at this point. Because
the thing is, I don't think
I got tickets to that game.
Even if we got into the playoffs,
it's a good game.
We're one and done. No matter who we play, even if we
disagree,
we're one and done.
I disagree.
I know what you. I disagree. Road record, then we got a home record.
No, it's more. No, that ain't what I'm going to say.
Okay,
I'm better than that.
All right.
I think. Here's my thing. I think we could, if we make the playoffs. Because the thing you got to consider, if we make the playoffs, that means we had to get at least 3 or 4 wins. Probably 4 wins if you want to keep it a buck.
Yeah.
If we win 4 out of the last 5 games, that means that means this team's ready. That means this team has finally figured it out.
You got OC.
That means the team's figured it out. So that makes us a threat. Just like Washington is a threat. Like, those are threatening wild card teams to face in the playoffs.
But I don't trust Matt Rhule.
It don't. But the thing is, if we win 4 out of our last 5 games and make the playoffs, you got to give that man the benefit of the doubt. He finally would have at that point. He finally got a coordinator. And besides, even if we go 0-5, they need a done deal. They're going to fire Rhule after that. I think firing Joe Brady bought him some time, at least going into the next season.
But I've heard that argument. Firing Joe Brady only buys Matt Rhule time if this team shows some signs of life. Like, until we see that, dude, I'm telling you, man. Like, I didn't think that it was possible before this season. And Dave, I thought you were the one saying Matt Rhule wouldn't get a 3rd quarterback.
No, and I don't think he is going to get a 3rd quarterback. Here's my thing.
He already did.
Yeah, and he already did.
Yeah, that is true. He did.
But we're talking. I'm talking about after this season. But here's my thing. This is at this point. This is where I see it. If I think Rhule's going to be back for the next season to coach, regardless of what happens in the final 5 games. I'm at that point now, right? I think he's done. I think he's done enough shaking and baking, so to speak, to get him to the 3rd year. That being said, Tep will fire him during the season next year if it starts real bad. Like, I just don't. And at the same time, my thing is this. When you think about who would come here to coach this team if we fire Rhule, who the hell want to walk into the fact that they got a $19 million quarterback on their roster?
Yeah, I said that too, man.
Like,
We're
not going to get anybody that's going to be willing to come here.
And you look at a team that doesn't have a lot, a team that doesn't have a lot of draft picks, a team that doesn't really have the ability to replace the offensive line. We don't know what we have.
I think Rhule should sit through next year, to be honest with you. Like let him because some of these like even though we're gonna say well Fitterer made some of these decisions, but Rhule gets a say too. Let's not get it twisted. Rhule got to sit through this shit.
Dan Darnold.
Like it's not fair. It's not fair for this next coach to have to walk into a situation where you have no second or third round pick. You got a quarterback that's about to make that's $19 million on your cap, and you got to figure out the Cam Newton situation. I think Rhule's got to sit with this. Everybody talking about we're gonna take a quarterback next year. That's the last thing you want if Rhule's gonna be back here. You don't want to put that on a quarterback, regardless of who you think is gonna be good next year. You need to let Rhule just sit this thing out. You just need to let him sit this one through. And then just go through the transition phase.
I agree with you, Dave, on that one, but hypothetical. Just hypothetical.
I'm hypothetical,
they lose out. Rhule is out at that point.
No, he's not.
I know. I'm just saying hypothetically. Hypothetically.
Okay.
They lose out. Rhule's out. They bring in, as I said, hypothetically, they bring in an Eric Bieniemy.
He ain't gonna take this job.
Hold up, hear me out. He comes in. This team goes from not, and I know I keep going on to this. He goes from not being on the Deshaun list as far as Carolina's concerned to, okay, I've always wanted to play for Eric Bieniemy. He's now a head coach. They want me. Let's see if we can work something out.
That's true.
I don't know. I mean,
but the thing is, what would it?
Granted, you're gonna get rid of, you're gonna lose it. As far as the draft is concerned, you may as well give that up. You're not gonna have any draft for this year, except for maybe a couple of day 3 picks. Your draft is gonna be crap. Understandable. Eric Bieniemy takes Brady Christensen and moves him to left tackle. Eric Bieniemy moves Deontay Brown to right guard. You've already got Pat Elflein at center for next year. You've got Taylor Moton at right tackle for next year. You can figure out a way to find a left guard. Maybe Michael Jordan stays at left guard. That's a better setup as far as offensive line goes than what we got, what we're pelling out there right now.
But what if?
I don't know. Wait, time out. I don't know the likelihood of any of that happening, but I'll be damned if I don't want it to happen. Literally everything you just said, I'm like, check. Like that would be the ideal scenario.
But the problem is, and I know it's hypothetical. If Eric B came here, right?
Yeah.
If Eric B came,
this might be his only team choice though, because Kansas City was great the last 2 years, down year this year, but those last 2 years he didn't get offered.
Well, now they're first in the AFC West.
So
they're not as good as they were the last 2 years, and
I just want to say something. You guys keep talking about new coaches, and it's just making me sad because we all know we're getting a third-year rule. Okay.
Yeah.
It's making me sad. You guys are literally killing me. Like you're making me. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to be crying in my pillow because I have to deal with that rule.
Look, you know what? Hold on, guys. Brad. I'm sorry. You kind of deserve this one. You bet on Kyle Pitts against us.
Oh no, he's still holding that against you, man.
What, you thought the $300 I had to give up wasn't enough? I mean, come on, man.
No, I do, man. I do.
I paid my dues.
I hear you, man. Trust me. I'm just messing with you, dude.
But I mean, we can only hope. I mean, that would be a great situation. And honestly, if we got to give up the 3 first-round picks, okay, you give up the 3 first-rounders, yeah.
Or who?
Or I'm sorry. But here's the question. Wait.
3 first-rounders for who?
Watson. But here's my dilemma. Here's my dilemma. We're gonna be out here not having a first-round pick for 3 years. Probably gonna lose some second-round picks on top of that.
Yeah.
We'll have our coach, but we ain't gonna be able to build anything around him. Deshaun Watson's
you gotta remember
we're not gonna be able to.
We're gonna end up having some cap space because as you said, look, the following season, Sam Darnold comes off the books as $19 million. Then at that point, and I know people don't want to talk about it, it's easier to get rid of McCaffrey's contract after next season. A lot easier.
But if you have Deshaun Watson as your quarterback,
if you're raising
Deshaun Watson's going to the Steelers.
But if you're raising the cap from $182 million to $208 million,
think about it.
Yeah, they're already good with quarterbacks,
and they're all right with people
and it's the Steelers.
If you can make it through there, we're gonna give up some picks, but the cap situation, you're gonna have some cap space that you can, if you're selective and you don't go and sign a Cam Irvin or a Pat Elflein the first day of free agency, you can revamp that offensive line and fill in some holes.
We're talking about this offensive line a lot, and we're not talking about some other holes.
We should resign Elflein.
We're gonna have some. Listen, there's other. See, like we're focused on the line, we're focused on everything else. But the reality of the fact is this: we need a linebacker, guys. We haven't really talked about it. We need a linebacker bad. We need picks to get these linebackers right. We need to think about that.
Well,
we need to
so yeah, you need a linebacker. You need free safety. You need. I mean, about the only position we're solidified on is corner. I mean, honestly. Corner is the only position group we're 100% solid on.
And we're talking about re-signing all these guys. Like, we got to pay Hassan Reddick. Like, there's guys we got to try to get back under contract, too.
If Rhule is gone, I don't see Hassan Reddick re-signing.
No, if Rhule's gone, then Hassan Reddick's gone, too. I mean, he's gone. He came here to specifically play for his college coach. He's gone.
Let's understand something. Next year, Deshaun Watson's salary cap hit is $40 million.
We're going to trade 3 first rounders.
It's $40 million just for 2022. In 23, it's $42 million. Now imagine giving that kind of cap up for a quarterback and your 3 first-round picks and a couple second-round picks and probably a player or two. So you might as well go ahead. If that's the case, you ain't got either DJ Moore or Brian Burns.
And he's going to be suspended for the whole year when he comes back.
Yeah, then he's going to be suspended for the full year. So how is that going to help you in the end?
Well, nobody's trading for him until after his whole legal issue and stuff is taken care of.
But
he'll be suspended by the NFL. Even if he takes care of all this, he'll still face suspension.
Nobody's going to give up 3 first rounders.
And as Kenneth, as you said, Houston's probably not going to get what they're asking for anyway.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hold on though. We don't know that Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended for a year.
Yes. Well, right, and see that's the thing, right? The NFL already came out and said that they did, based on their internal investigation, they don't have enough evidence to warrant a suspension. So he's not.
Yeah, they were saying that if he would have been traded, if he would have been traded before the deadline, he would have been able to play this season.
But here the thing about. I think that trading for Deshaun Watson, and the only reason I brought it up is because it would be the dumbest decision that they could possibly make as far as betting on our future is concerned. I mean, because, like I said, we are not a quarterback away. We are a quarterback. We are offensive line, linebacker, free safety. I mean, we have a ton of holes, and we don't have any way to really fill them. Not to mention the fact that, people – I know that you can do black magic to the cap, but we only have $29.5 million in cap space next year, with $5 million rollover potentially as well, right? We're only looking at $34 million. I mean, and the more we lose, I mean, let's just assume let's say for the sake of argument, we get the 5th overall pick, right? Who the hell is going to trade for that this year and actually give you adequate value for it? Because there's nobody. I mean, there's not a lot of teams that are going to be willing to trade into the top 10. This year's college draft is not like the last couple of years. So you're not going to demand the premium.
It's really looking like Carolina's going to have to sleep in the bed it made. We made our bed, we got to sleep in it.
And that's the thing, man. Like, I know we want to win because we're going to be pushing the 4th consecutive losing season.
Yeah.
But the bed that has been built right now, we got to lay in this shit. Because if we don't lay in this shit soon, if we don't lay in it and just eat what we got to eat, then we're out. We're gonna be having this cycle. We could start looking like the Cleveland Browns from the 2000s.
You know what's funny about that? You know what's funny about that?
I mean,
you know what's funny about that? The owner of the Browns was also a guy who came from Pittsburgh. Was a part of the Pittsburgh ownership.
I know.
Tepper is more like Jimmy Haslam than he is Art Rooney. I mean, that's just the reality.
Hey, so
wait, by the way, there's one more thing I need to say about that too. Just so you know, he was part of Tepper was part of minority ownership that wanted Tomlin fired.
Right.
Did we know that? Wait, hold up. Was that ever confirmed?
Yes.
All I ever heard.
Yes. Yeah, it was confirmed.
They have a list. There's an article out there There's a list of minority owners, and he was on that list. He wanted Tomlin gone after a playoff loss. The man's never had a losing season. This year might be Tomlin's first ever losing season.
I would take him right now. Mike Tomlin might be my favorite coach. Like, okay, if you were to ask me who I would prefer to be the head coach right now, I would say Eric Bieniemy number 1. I think he deserves his shot. But then, dude, my number 2 would be Tomlin if he ever came available. Like, that dude's never had a losing season.
Well, he's not open here.
Right, and you see, and that's the thing that there was some dialogue earlier online on Twitter saying, well, what if the Pittsburgh fires Tomlin? Oh my God, I want him in Carolina. Dude, Tepper's not going to fucking hire him.
No, stop that. No, you ain't even got to say that, Brett. You ain't got to worry about Tomlin getting fired. Do you know what the Pittsburgh Steelers have never fired their head coach?
I know.
They've never. I'll say it again. They've never fired their head coach. So, and you know what they did when Bill Cowher was the head coach for Pittsburgh? Whenever he had a losing season, you know what they did? They extended him.
Now,
they just extended him.
I believe there's going to be some coaches fired in Pittsburgh, but not the head coach.
Yeah, Tomlin ain't going nowhere. I'll tell you that right now. Tomlin ain't going nowhere.
When the Pittsburgh Steelers struggle, they get rid of position coaches, they get rid of coordinators, but they keep that head coach.
And by the way,
Tomlin's about to be the winningest coach in Steelers history.
Another thing,
couple more wins.
So another thing about that Pittsburgh Steelers team, dude, I don't know how many of y'all have peeped the Steelers this year, but Big Ben looks old as shit, dude. That guy looks like a zombie behind that O-line, man.
It is amazing. It is amazing the Steelers record is as good as it is right now.
Yeah.
He's done. Ben's cooked. The only failure that Tomlin might have had
this season.
The only failure Tomlin might have had is not thinking about who's going to be the next quarterback after Ben.
But you know, earlier when you mentioned all them quarterbacks, whoever it was that was them veteran pro quarterbacks that's going to be looking for a new team, one of them's going to end up in the Steelers.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is, but one of them's going to end up in the Steelers.
But hey, did y'all see that Chase Claypool thing with him celebrating at the end? And
all right. So
people were roasting his ass, man. That was hilarious.
I'm gonna be real with you though. It's not Chase Claypool's fucking fault they were down 29-0. I mean, let's be real here.
It's not his fault, but he was an idiot. He cost him 10 seconds.
I mean, credit where credit's due, right? That was stupid as shit. But let's be fair. Like, that team looked like absolute dog dookie for the entire first half of that game.
Yeah,
I remember Cam did that one time. It was like right on the goal line with a couple seconds left.
Hey, Cody, I'm going to bounce out of here. All right, buddy?
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming through, man.
All right, Brad. Have a good one, boss.
All right, Nick.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, later, Nick. Peace and love, bro.
Oh, Nick, you leaving. My bad.
So guys, man. Honestly, what are we – I mean, we've done the hypotheticals and everything, but what do we really have to look forward to at this point? In all honesty.
I'm going to be honest. I hope Jeff Nixon coaches his ass off, yo. I do. I hope he calls a good game against Atlanta.
I like the dude myself.
I think we all do
so far.
I hope it gets turned around.
Yeah,
because I'm serious.
That's a stupid idea. Oh,
I would love to see it turned around, as I said, but I think Jeff Nixon's actually going to do. I honestly think I watched his press conference, and I like the guy. But I don't trust Matt. Everything looks good except for who's at the top. I don't trust Matt Rhule to do the right thing.
Talk about like Matt Rhule not liking Joe Brady because he wouldn't run the ball.
Yeah. There are a lot of philosophical.
Yeah, I just don't trust Matt Rhule to do the right thing. I just don't. We see it with the offensive line. For some reason, I think Cam Irvin's got pictures of this dude doing something illegal.
Oh no, he's got his kids and his wife in the basement. They're showing weekly proofs of life. That's what they're telling people on Twitter, man. Like,
there's no way this guy should be coming back being the starting left tackle for this team.
But that's
they picked him up day one of free agency, guys.
Right, and
no one in their right mind would have done that. That's why when they came across the screen, I thought I was playing something from a couple of years ago. I was like, there's no way in the hell Carolina signed Cam Irvin. What the hell?
Because he's a first-round talent.
I'm going to be real with you guys.
So
Like,
Sam Darnold.
I think Cam Irving is going to be our starting left tackle next year too. I really
Oh man, I might have to throw you off to that, dude. Dude,
Kick Brad
yeah,
off.
I might hear that. Hey, just
So
like you
Brad,
didn't want to
again,
hear
to my
that
point,
stuff
what do
earlier.
we have to look forward to?
Well, I mean, do we trust it? Like I said, I mean, I think we're probably going to be we might take a left tackle at number with our first round pick. I don't know what trading back is going to look like. I mean, I personally, if we're in the top 10, I kind of hope we trade back to 15 or 16 and pick up the left tackle from NC State. But,
or just fill out the roster, like just get a bunch of.
NC State will be gone in the top 10.
Let me tell you something. Go back to that Matt Rhule Nixon mixtapes. Let me tell you something, man. I'm gonna be honest.
What?
The comment about Matt Rhule and the Nixon mixtapes.
Oh
that Dan Floyd had up. Let me tell you something about that, man. There's the comment right before that one. Let me tell you something Let me tell you something, man. If you are here doing playing CL Smooth and Pete Rock in your mixtapes, you might be invited to the cookout. You might just like.
You like him, bro?
No, you might. No, I said you're invited to the cookout. You're invited to the cookout. If you out here doing mixtapes with CL Smooth and Pete Rock on it, you might be invited to the cookout. You know who just got invited to the cookout earlier this afternoon?
Who?
Doja Cat just got invited to the cookout. Doja Cat just got invited to the cookout. She out here playing Little Brother. She out here playing Little Brother albums. She got invited to the cookout. Sometimes you just get invited to the cookout.
But I might know like 3. No, not even. Yeah. I might know 2.
Give the name and that's it.
Yeah, I've seen that video she made with Sweetie, best friend.
I haven't heard a single Doja Cat song.
I don't know who that is either.
I haven't heard a single Doja Cat song, but when my boy Fonte posted that she out here and being oppressed by Fonte verses, all right, I don't know how good you are of a rapper or artist, but you're invited to the cookout. Don't matter.
All right, so Matt Rhule might not be a good head coach, but he's invited to the cookout.
He's invited to the cookout.
You heard it here first. So look, if we think that the Panthers can beat the Falcons, why do we think that? Like, okay, with our offensive line being in flux the way it is, like, do you think our offensive line has a chance against their D line?
Yeah, because Atlanta's probably the only win I can see.
Their pass rush is terrible. Yeah. I mean, it's terrible.
I believe it's more of a situation who's worse, and I think Atlanta's worse.
If we don't beat Atlanta, I don't think we win another game this season.
Yeah, no. I believe we'll win 2 games this year, maybe 2 games. One of them's Atlanta, but I don't believe we'll win another game until the end of the year when Tampa Bay puts all their backups in.
They won't need to. No, that's not true. Tampa might be.
I'm not sure we can beat your backups.
Tampa might be in for the 1 seed. So
exactly.
They're going to be playing for position in the playoffs. They're not going to be sitting starters in the final game of the season. They're going to be playing for seeding. So,
and dude, that is one thing I will say. For as bad as the Panthers are, I am enjoying this NFL season because of the parity. Like, it's like a lot of the big teams in the NFL all have some big, they all have some big losses. The Chiefs lost a bunch. The Patriots lost. Even a lot of the teams like that are in the wild card, like that are legitimate wild card contenders, like the Chargers and the Bills. You know, like
5 teams tied for second right now.
Yeah, football is fun right now. And by the way, this is the only type of season that we would be looking at a 5-7 Panthers and still thinking, oh yeah, we can make it in, and the extended playoff to boot. Or the extended season, rather, to boot. It just gives us better chances. I think this is a fun season of football. My only thing is this, man, is that when this offensive line starts looking bad, dude, we'll make any bad team look good.
Yeah,
like we will make some of the worst teams look like a playoff squad, man. That's what I'm worried about, and that's why I disagreed with Dave earlier when he was like, Matt Rhule, he's gonna get that 3rd year, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe he might. I would still err on the side
He
of
will.
saying that he will.
So-
But my thing is this: if we come out and look terrible and lose another home game, and the Falcons blow us out, dude,
Then
I'm telling you, the seats are hot. I'm telling you they're hot.
But I think my thing is this. I could see a scenario of us losing to the Falcons, but I legitimately don't see a scenario where we get blown out by the Falcons, bro. I don't see it.
And I'll add on to that. Here's what I think is going to happen if let's just say we don't win any more games. Do you know who's going to be the scapegoat after the Joe Brady firing? Cam Newton will be the scapegoat.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
That is correct.
let's be real here. Like Matt Rhule has done a masterful job making sure that there's no way that he can point as many fingers at other people as humanly possible and still retain that job. He's done a great. He's been fantastic with his roster building that way. So I mean, it's going to come down to how do we look coming out of next year, and what do we do with that first round pick? Do we take a left tackle? Do we get a quarterback? I mean, because I don't think either one of those. I don't think quarterback's off the table with that first round pick next year. I mean,
all I'm going to say is this: Cam Newton hasn't won a game as a starter for the Carolina Panthers since 2018.
Yep.
If he goes 0-7 as a starter, he's done. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. And Cam knows it too.
He knows.
Cam knows it.
He said
when you listen to Cam's, it's like, hey man, this is a this is a victory based league, man. If you're not winning, that's what gets people fired. And that's another thing that I want to talk about too. In Cam Newton's press conference, he seemed to kind of put some of the blame on Joe Brady's firing on himself. And that's not surprising, especially when you know Cam Newton. He's always been the type of guy to put things on his back because that's what, that he's the leader of the football team. That's what he's supposed to do. But I just found it interesting that he was like, man, people don't get fired when you're successful. So it's like he kind of felt that part of the blame go on him. I think he knows that. I think Cam Newton, and that's one of the only reasons I'm hopeful, is that Cam knows that his back is against the wall. He's literally not only playing for another contract here, but fighting for his NFL career. So if you're ever going to see the most dedicated Cam Newton that you could ever see, I mean, I think we're looking at that Cam right now.
How about this? When we're talking about what we look forward to, if Cam plays well, we're not wasting that first round pick on a quarterback.
I think we still. I think we still are.
I think that's still on the board because I know people have a lot of hope that Cam Newton can play 3 or 4 years. He's not. He can't. I don't think he can.
I wouldn't say 4 years.
I mean, I wouldn't even. I'm not even going to go that so far as to say that he's washed or anything like that. But Cam Newton is not the long-term answer. He's just not. He's the short-term fix, or at least that's what he's supposed to be. The problem is, and I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't think no matter how the season turns out, that Cam Newton is a Carolina Panther next year. I think that the cap is going to be.
I ain't going there.
I think the cap is going to be difficult for them to navigate with the Sam Darnold contract on there. I think we should be prepared to either see them draft a rookie quarterback next year, or we should be prepared to see them trade for someone or roll out Sam Darnold for another round.
But I mean, okay, but like if you draft a quarterback in the first round, like to me, Cam Newton staying more years in Carolina and drafting a quarterback even this year, those don't seem mutually exclusive to me. Like it seems like they could, for whatever reason, see Cam Newton, especially if he plays well, as a bridge. Essentially what the organization thought Teddy Bridgewater was going to be. Okay, give Cam Newton a full offseason, let him train, let him prepare, let him get up to speed with the play calling, have OTAs, a preseason, all that jazz. And then if you want to draft a quarterback to try and bring up behind him, then, they might consider going that route as well. It wouldn't.
As long as it's not in the first round. Matt Rhule should not be allowed to draft a quarterback next year in the first round.
And I agree with that.
Go with Cam next year. If he makes it through the season, then he can try to draft a quarterback the following season, but he should not be allowed to draft a quarterback because there's no guarantee he makes it through next season.
You can't let him do like every single time folks keep saying we got to draft a quarterback next year. Everything, and the first thing I think about is Jimmy Clausen, and I think about Josh Rosen. I think about guys who only
Sam Darnold.
Well, he only did have 1 year with his coach, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Shit, I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
man.
You cannot let that rule draft a quarterback next year. As I said, if he may not make it through the whole season, then you got a new coach coming in who's got a quarterback that we took in the first round, and he may not even like the quarterback. He's like, this is not my guy, and we've already spent a first round pick on him. Now what?
Let me say this. I don't care if he drafts a quarterback next offseason if it means we get Bryce Young the season after.
But dude, okay.
I think Bryce Young is going to be the first pick of the draft next year.
I'm aware of that.
And I don't think there's no way we're going to have the first overall pick next year. There's going to be worse teams than us. There always are.
Tepper will fire Matt Rhule.
Well, not
always. Just go get that bad. He'll fire him. He'll
cut
losses
and won't always improve when you fire that coach.
I've been through that before. I've been through that. Oh, let's suck for luck. I've been through that. Let's do this. It always backfires. It always messes up. It's never, even when, we sucked for luck. Great. Then luck didn't come out because luck said, I ain't going to Carolina. And I mean, that's just the way it was. Now, I still think we got the better end of the deal, but nonetheless, when it happened, it happened. I'm absolutely I hate the idea of targeting a quarterback that early in a future round because anything's liable to happen. Now, he looked great this year. He did. But you don't know what's going to happen next year. If he comes out next year at the beginning of college and breaks his leg and he's out the whole year, he may not get drafted that high, or he may be available for our picks.
And also,
you don't know how that works out.
And I'm not trying to shit on Bryce Young.
No,
right. But I'm saying, okay, I see, Alabama does this to seemingly everyone now. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but like Matt Jones was able to do it, Jalen Hurts was able to do it, Tua was able to do it.
They all look good.
When I look, some of them look better than others, but my thing with Bryce Young is that he's still an undersized quarterback, and he's not very mobile. He does have good arm talent, and he is willing to throw the ball downfield, so I'll definitely give him that. But it's like, looking this far out, and I said this on one of our Tuesday shows.
Great, Matt Rhule.
We're pretty much dependent upon Cam Newton looking good. Because if Cam Newton doesn't look good enough to re-sign after this year, you're telling everyone, hey, Sam Darnold is going to be the quarterback that we're starting with next year, unless we have one in the first round that we're forced to draft because we have no other option but to draft a quarterback.
I'd rather start Sam Darnold than draft.
That's a nightmare scenario, man.
You just can't let that man draft a quarterback in the first round.
I agree with that 100%, but I mean that doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? I mean,
we have too many needs, and honestly, if Fitterer and the rest of the front office had no idea that Rhule was going to be this bad, because if they did, they wouldn't have traded for Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, Gilmore only cost you a 6th round pick,
and I get that, but it's still.
I mean,
do you trade a 3rd round pick for C.J. Henderson if you know you're going to be this bad?
Now, okay, to be fair, I'm all about that C.J. Henderson slander, but he was, I think, our third highest graded player based on PFF.
He would have been the pick.
If Rhule was in charge that year, he would have been our 1st round pick. Not Derek.
No. Brown was always the top guy, but if somehow Brown wasn't there and Henderson was, it went Brown, Henderson in that order. We talked about it on the podcast. It was Brown, then Henderson. If Brown wasn't there, Henderson would have been the pick. So they just can't. They didn't have 2 top 10 picks to get them both.
I kind of think it was Herbert, Brown, Henderson. Because I think Marty Herney.
I think
had
Marty
the-
was
had
going to
the-
draft Herbert if Herbert was available.
Yeah, I think Marty Herney had the hots for Justin.
But
Herbert,
I still don't think that Marty thought the Chargers would draft the quarterback. I don't think he thought that a bit. He thought they would draft.
But and then another thing too is like sometimes a quarterback does fall to you, and you're able to pick up a guy that does fit your football team.
Kinda
And by the way, like
Mac
Jones.
Yeah,
we
that's
could have had
example
Aaron
right there.
Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers fell right in our lap, and we decided we didn't.
But everybody, but to that though, they didn't have the rookie pay scale back then. So
No,
to
you're
draft,
right,
so
they
to
didn't.
draft
You get
a
TV
quarterback,
out of
to draft a quarterback in the first round, that you're talking about big time money for a player that
And
if you didn't think that he was going to start, you're paying a lot of money for a backup. So that I kind of think that's why he fell. And even still, he sat behind Brett Favre.
for like
but-
5 years.
Dude,
Yeah.
So can
Go
I ask the question? Can I ask the question? I guess to the room. Do we think that this? How many of us think this is DJ Moore's last season in a Panthers uniform?
I do.
Let's see.
I do.
I'm torn.
I think
I'm
he's
not.
traded
torn.
for picks.
I think
No,
that
I mean-
personally,
You paid Robbie. You paid
that's
Robbie.
exactly it.
And you drafted
You paid
Terrence
Robbie.
and
you drafted
Shy.
Terrence
And Shy.
and Shy. This is it, guys. I know y'all don't want to hear it.
I
Well,
think that's
and
the plan. I think that's the plan.
I think they're going to
I
trade him
really
this
do.
offseason. I
What
really do.
What
I
do you
think
think you get
he's
for
getting
DJ?
traded.
You
I
can
think the
But I
guys,
mean, like that's why you. Okay.
I also believe we'll be worse for it.
So if
Good
you
Robbie
hold on,
has
so
an
let me just say it like this: if DJ Moore is put out there for a trade after we put a franchise tag on him, I'm for it. I mean,
You don't have to put a
get-
franchise tag on him. He's on his 5th-year option.
Yeah.
Yep.
so he's a free agent after this year. I thought we had
No,
another
after
year.
next
Oh,
season.
he's got another year.
He's got to play another year. Next year is his 5th-year option year.
But I looked it up. Like, if you look at the number of players that play on the 5th-year option, there aren't many of them. Most of them are hold out or demand
Yeah,
that
but what's
extension.
DJ gonna say though? Like, I mean, is DJ Moore really in the position to force a holdout? Like,
He's going
maybe
to get
he
1,000
is.
yards this season.
I mean, yeah, but it's like I don't know if that's enough to be like, all right, I'm not playing unless y'all pay me.
I don't think he's going to hold out, Cody.
I don't think.
So let me rephrase that. I don't necessarily know that he'll hold out. I think that the plan is going to be to trade him. I think that's always been the
That's
plan.
where they're going to recoup their picks. Is they're going to trade DJ Moore.
I think it's going to be DJ Moore, and I think, like I said, I think that we might be seeing Brian Burns' last time as a Panther too, potentially. I mean, they're going to sell some assets.
I would be in favor of that if we traded DJ Moore. And it's not that I don't like DJ. I've said this
before he walks, man.
Well, I mean, I think that DJ Moore has been a victim to the quarterback position. And I've said that before. It's like, he would have way more touchdowns if he had more consistent quarterback play. But the fact that we haven't, like, dude, I don't care what anyone says, receiver is replaceable. Yeah. It just is. It just is. I'm sorry. Like, DJ Moore is not that integral to the Panthers' future.
I believe Bill Belichick will give you a first-round pick for DJ Moore.
I take
see him in a Patriots.
I don't know if anyone's giving a first round.
No one's
Oh yeah,
giving
they
first.
would.
It might be a high second, but it's not going to be a first rounder.
There was a guy, I think it was for the Dolphins a few years ago, that Belichick wanted. The guy said he was just going to retire because it was enough of this. Belichick called the Dolphins and offered a late round pick for him. That guy became Wes Welker.
I could see somebody like Kip said, I could see somebody at the end of the first round that needs a wide receiver saying, okay, I would rather have a proven commodity than take a chance on a rookie that I don't know is going to pan out.
Yeah.
Here, I'll give you my end of
go back and review what Bill Belichick said about DJ Moore. And also understand Bill Belichick hates training rookies. He despises that process. He will give you a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and he'd give you something for a veteran long before he would draft a rookie.
Well, and and let's be real here. Like, people keep acting like DJ Moore is a wide receiver one. He's not a wide receiver one. He's a solid.
I ain't ready for that.
Agreed.
Wes Welker wasn't
Y'all
either.
ain't ready
No,
for that.
hey,
Wes
Dave,
Welker was
Dave,
Y'all ain't
hold
ready
on,
for that.
hold on.
best.
Dave,
Well,
I'm
and-
on Brad's team. I'm on Brad's team, bro. I'm not trying to be no hater,
Oh,
but
I agree with y'all.
DJ Moore does not have that number one wide receiver mentality to him. I'm sorry, he just doesn't.
Well,
Like,
again,
I like
Well,
the
and-
kid.
I got flamed on my channel last season when I talked about that man's catch percentage. I got flamed vicious. And I wasn't trying to beat him up saying he wasn't a number one. I was
Right.
just talking from a fantasy perspective that his catch percentage isn't where it's going to be and is not at a number one level. And I got attacked. And then I got look at his stats. And I'm like, yeah, but if you got to target the man so many damn times, he's got to catch the ball at a higher rate. Curtis Samuel caught the ball at a higher rate than him last year. A much higher
yeah.
rate than him last year.
Yeah.
I've got ripped
Well,
up a
and-
new one because I said DJ Moore because I wasn't a hardcore Curtis Samuel fan. I like Curtis Samuel too, but let's be real. Curtis Samuel's just like Christian McCaffrey. He can't stay healthy, save his
Yeah.
life.
He's hurt all
Brown
the time.
gave
And
up,
honestly, I agree with
Odell.
Kenneth. Bill
Odell.
Belichick does not like drafting rookie wide
He
receivers.
doesn't.
He'll give
Well,
you
and-
if they go deep in the playoffs. I could see them giving us a late first round pick for DJ Moore just because.
And then, you know
Well,
what?
and I got
What did he
blasted.
get for Randy Moss?
I got blasted on
Yeah,
they,
Twitter.
they traded like a
week
fourth
ago.
round pick
Yeah,
for Randy
fourth.
Moss.
Yeah, well, Randy Moss held out though, and Randy
But
Moss
that
was
was-
no-
But that
That's
was
a
also
different
that was Randy
Randy
Moss.
Moss. Yeah,
He-
But you gotta
he
look
was
besides
that was a
Randy
bad
Moss.
example on my
Cody,
part.
look at
No,
this.
no, you're right. No, I
Moss.
get what you're
When
saying.
was the last time
Yeah.
the Patriots had a true number one receiver?
Since Randy
Well,
Moss.
Belichick doesn't use Belichick doesn't use
I don't
number
know
ones.
if Bobby went
He,
number
to
one.
Belichick, he don't use number ones. Randy Moss wasn't a number one when he was with there. He just had a selection
Y'all
of
talking
receivers.
out of pocket. Y'all talking out of pocket. Listen.
No, wait,
Randy-
hold on.
No.
Wait, time out. No. I know what he was trying to say.
Get him, Dave.
No, I know what he was trying to say because
All right.
I've been watching that Man in the
Well,
Arena
let's look at
thing
most
because
of
I love documentaries. But I think, and I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, Kenneth, but like Randy Moss, he was incredible with Minnesota, but then he went to Oakland, and at the time, people were talking about, oh man, Randy Moss has lost a step. He's not as fast as he once was. He's been ran down a few times. And, a lot of the people in the media were kind of down on Randy. And then that's when they brought him in. And, of course, he has that incredible season with the Patriots. But to add to your argument, Kenneth, a lot of us kind of get upset at DJ because sometimes he's so undisciplined in his route running. Like, he's capable of being a really good route runner, but sometimes he'll just, take plays off and guys will run the route for him. And, dude, Bill Belichick would love a chance to, he would look at that as a restoration project. Like, bro, I can.
I've heard.
He would look at that as dude. You guys don't understand how Bill operates up here.
But he would fix him.
If you got somebody that's a sloppy route runner, and he might make an attempt to fix it, but if it doesn't get better, he'll be sitting on that damn bench. Ask Chad Ocho about that.
Yeah,
Chad was out here. Chad was out here, couldn't do a damn thing because he couldn't learn the dang on. He couldn't learn the plays.
But what's that dude that they still got up there that threw Cam Newton under the bus last year?
N'Keal Harry.
N'Keal Harry. He's still on that team, ain't he? And
it also proves a point. It also proves a point too. Like, we talk about how the last time the Patriots had a number one wide receiver was Randy Moss. But I got a question for you guys. How many Super Bowls did they win when Randy Moss was on that roster?
None.
Not a one, right?
No.
Brady was out here winning Super Bowls with Deion Branch and all these guys, and they're gonna make it to the Hall of Fame as well.
He was the
Troy
MVP
Brown
of the Super Bowl.
and David Patton and
I'll reiterate. So kind of to support Kenneth's statement though about why that's a good fit for DJ Moore. What is Bill Belichick? What is the entire Josh McDaniels scheme based around? Right? It's based around short passes, intermediate routes, yard after the catch.
And I could definitely see it happening, man. My thing is I don't know that, especially the reason I don't think it's a first round pick is because it's a first round pick and you're leasing DJ Moore for a year. And Belichick has never really shown a tendency to drop big time dollars on the receiver position. So it's like you would be trading a first round pick for a 1 year lease on a good receiver, but you might not keep him after.
It might be like a 5th round pick for New England. They're not going to pay that for a 1 year rental. That's not how they roll.
He just did it with Baltimore.
So here's the thing, though.
Baltimore might do it for a first
people
round.
keep saying right. Well, people keep saying that DJ Moore we could definitely get. I think a late first round pick, early second round pick, but it has to go to somebody who literally thinks they are a wide receiver away, right?
Baltimore.
And is willing to trade that.
New England's never a wide receiver away.
Right.
New England doesn't operate that way, guys.
Julian Edelman went MVP.
I hear your point, though. It's like, and by the way,
but all right, wait, stop. Is Julian Edelman an NFL Hall of Famer?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you.
But that's okay. All right, because folks always bring up Edelman, and I'm like, guys, like
his playoff record is very impressive, though.
I mean, when you look at the Super Bowl rings and you look at what he's been able to do, I mean, you can make an argument that was, one of Tom Brady's number one wide receivers for a while, but. I mean, I think it's different if you're talking Edelman over Welker. I think Edelman was probably a little bit better in that role, but I really don't know, man. I do agree with the ultimate point, though, is that quarterback, receivers, they're not really normally the difference. And if you're going to win or lose a Super Bowl. No, but really not anywhere. It's really not even anywhere.
Guys, think about this. If now, as I said, that's a hypothetical. If they were to trade DJ to, say New England for a late first, I don't even see them keeping that late first. I see Fitterer taking that late first and trading back.
Trade it back.
To accumulate more picks.
Which I might be in support of too. That might be the best move.
That's
right. So and that's kind of where I've been getting at, or where I've been like on my, because I've listed a couple times on Twitter what I think is probably going to happen this offseason, and I said DJ Moore is probably getting traded, right? I think that if we're not keeping Hassan Reddick, we will hopefully tag and trade him, because that would potentially net you a first round pick if somebody is willing to pay for a proven pass rusher, right? I think that the more we lose, the higher that pick gets, the harder it's going to be to find somebody who's willing to give us adequate value for that first round pick, right?
Now, Brad, you just said to tag Hassan Reddick and trade him. How about this? You tag Hassan Reddick, trade him to Kansas City, and get Orlando Brown back in return.
Orlando Brown's a free agent next year.
What I'm just saying, Kansas City could tag him as well.
But then both players have to sign that tag before you can trade him.
Well, that's true. I'm just saying, if they both get tagged,
already.
So why wouldn't the player just say no? Just let me go and I'll sign who I want.
Well, the problem is they don't have that.
Help you out.
They don't have that. They don't have that option. They don't have that option. So like once you get tagged, you're locked into the tag. Either you're going to sign or you're going to have to sit out. You don't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah, they're going to tell you tough titties. You said the kid.
Only Carolina releases somebody that doesn't sign the tag.
How many free agents?
Right.
How many free agents in the NFL have been tagged just to trade them? You tag them just so when they sign it.
Not many.
Not many.
Right.
You gotta pay.
Yeah, because nobody wants to rent a player for a year.
But that's the thing, is you're trading to a team that's willing.
Exactly. You trade him to a team that's probably going to sign him to a long-term deal. If we tagged Hassan Reddick, traded him to Kansas City, and got Orlando Brown back, we signed Orlando Brown to a long-term deal. We've taken care of our left tackle position. Cam Urban is a backup. We could re-sign Marquise Haynes or Yetur Gross-Matos is defensive end.
I'm gonna be real with you. Nobody's trading a franchise left tackle for a defensive end. That's not happening.
First round pick, maybe.
Well, how about this? I'll say this: it can't be just any defensive end. It has to be a Myles Garrett type of guy, Chase Young type of guy, Von Miller in his prime type of guy, like premier pass rusher.
Yeah, Riddick doesn't necessarily fit a lot of defensive coordinators' defensive end schemes. He's only 235. Most defensive ends in the league view somebody who weighs 235 as you can't stop the run, so I'm not giving you a bunch of picks for a guy who can't stop the run.
And to be fair, I think the tape kind of suggests that that's true, right? Because most of the time when we're getting gashed, in the run. It's on the edges. Yeah, it's Brian Burns and Hassan Reddick. They can't seal.
That's what Rashad had a good video, Dave. Rashad had a good video this week over that. It was the Derek Brown video. Y'all need to watch that. It's a really good.
Yeah, Rashad did a really good job in that video, man.
Because the point of it is the edges are giving it up. But then of course that also goes to the point. We talk about trading or Brian Burns. We don't know that Brian Burns is going to earn another contract.
No, that's a good point, man. I've been very vocal.
I mean, if
that
I'm
Brian
a GM,
Burns has been disappointing.
Yeah, if I'm a GM, I'm not trading you a lot with the guys that you want to offer because I haven't seen where they fit. And Brian Burns, that's a good question. Does Brian Burns a defensive end in a 4-3, or is he a linebacker in a 3-4?
He's a 3-4, I think.
Exactly.
I mean,
so even now you're out of place. So.
When we
our
drafted,
defense, while they get a lot of attention.
No, well, we were a 3-4 team. We were a 3-4 team because Tepper wanted Rivera to change to a 3-4 team.
Exactly. And we didn't even have the people back then to be a 3-4.
David Tepper is the Jerry Jones of the NFC South, y'all. I'm telling you. We got our very own version of Jerry Jones. David Tepper's calling all the shots.
That means Fitterer's going to lose his job soon then because that means he's going to be the GM.
But we going to sign
like Jerry Jones.
But he'll be Federer will still be the GM, but he's just going to be the hand puppet for David Tepper whenever David Tepper. Okay, I guarantee you, when all those rumors kept on coming up about Deshaun Watson and the Panthers were interested, then they're not. Then they're interested. Well, the Panthers were always interested after they got their ass kicked on Sunday. That tells me that's David Tepper. That tells me that's David Tepper chirping in people's ears, saying, "Hey, this is bullshit. I demand better at the quarterback position. Get Deshaun Watson here." And that's why I think Brad is, he's kind of on the money when he says, "Look, if Watson does come available next year, I'm here to tell you that David Tepper doesn't give a damn. If he's able to play and we're able to muster up some kind of package for him, David Tepper throws temper tantrums and it gets what he wants."
So I could easily see that come here, though, and he don't want.
Yeah, I mean that's a part. I'm just saying from an organizational standpoint, if David Tepper had his way, he would make it happen in a heartbeat.
But so far, David Tepper's choices suck. Kind of like Matt Rhule's coaching.
Yeah, and you know what? That's
$20 million under the table to the Texans owner.
Think of it this way: they both suck together.
Yeah, but then also the fact that we have video evidence. Whenever you look at those Panther Confidential videos, they're collaborating with one another. So it's like they're all talking to one another. They're all, David Tepper is very involved in this decision-making process. Drew has been saying Matt Rhule shouldn't have the ability to draft another quarterback. But my thing is this year, if we draft a quarterback, who's the evaluation going to be on? Is that Fitterer drafting our quarterback of the future, or is it Matt Rhule saying, "Nah, this is the guy that I want"? Because I have no idea.
Well, I mean, I think that too many people. So I think that Matt Rhule, and it sounds like, John Ellis has said, kind of reiterated this, but Teddy Bridgewater was 100% a Matt Rhule pick, right? It wasn't just that it wasn't Joe Brady. It was Matt Rhule knew that this was the guy he wanted to bring coach in the NFL. And that's who he wanted, right? I think that most of our roster decisions are Matt Rhule, just being 100% frank.
I agree to that.
Yep. Because that was the reason he didn't take the Jets job, is because he wanted complete roster control. And they wouldn't give it.
He wanted control of his coaching staff. That was the big thing.
But he also wanted roster control as well.
Well, I mean,
he said he wanted to control the roster because of what Bill Parcells said a long time ago about they want you to cook, but they don't want you to. They want you to shop for the groceries, but they don't let you cook.
Yeah,
something like that.
Or something, something to that extent.
Yeah,
or they want you. I think it's probably they want you to cook, but they don't want you to shop for the ingredients.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that look, there is some truth to that, man. But like, really, unless someone can tell me someone who escapes me, Bill Belichick is the only head coach GM combo that I know of in the NFL right now. Normally, you don't have your coach acting as your general manager.
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll has the final say so. I think they got a GM, but he has final say so.
Yeah, I was about, okay.
So the way well, and I'll kind of go back to the reason why they hired Fitterer, right? Was they basically said that they wanted to kind of emulate what Seattle's been doing because Seattle's a proven successful organization where Pete Carroll has final say over the roster. He has final say over who they trade for. He basically is the GM. What Dan Schneider's job is to facilitate the terms of any extensions. It's to facilitate the compensation if they trade players or trade for players, right? It's to provide recommendations on what players they draft. But at the end of the day, the person who's really pulling all the strings as far as that roster is concerned is Pete Carroll.
And Pete Carroll's getting a lot of negative slack for the move so far up there.
Jamal Adams trade, especially.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. He's getting a lot of slack for that. And even Oregon, who needs a head coach, is rumored to be interested. I would not be shocked for Pete Carroll to abandon ship.
But can I just tell you
to abandon ship?
Can I just tell you, if you're a GM, like, yeah, I get it. You're going to go to whoever hires you. But, like, why would you want to go to a place where it's like you have to sign off who you're going to draft on the head coach? Like, are you bringing me in to be the general manager or not? Like, am I here to evaluate talent and build up the football team or not? Like, I wouldn't want to play second fiddle to the head coach. I mean, maybe that's just me.
And that's why, like, I've been pounding the table for about a month now saying if they do fire Matt Rhule after the end of the season, I don't think it's going to happen. But if they do, part of me kind of hopes that they send Scott Fitterer with him, because as much as as he probably deserves a chance to do it, to do it, I just worry that he's going to continue to try and emulate what they're doing in Seattle. And honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. Seattle is a team with some holes that's been covered up by a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, man. And if you look at how they've mismanaged their offensive line, you look at how we're mismanaging our offensive line. Yeah, it looks pretty depressing, y'all. Hey, so we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, man. I want to get everyone's predictions for this Atlanta game and just tell me one, what do you think is going to happen? Give me a score prediction, but also let me know, like, if we win, why? What do the Panthers do to win this football game? And yeah, I mean, there's so many different things that go into this. So I'll just start from the top, work my way down. Drew, what's your prediction, and what do you think will be the what will be the reason? What's going to make or break the football game?
I'm gonna go with Carolina, and I think the reason is because Dave knows it. The reason is because they're going.
I'm gonna go with Carolina.
Yeah, don't sound so serious.
They're gonna control the clock. They're gonna run the football, and they're gonna control the clock, which is exactly what Rhule's wanted to do. So at this point, Carolina's gonna win that game, and Cam will get his first win at Bank of America Stadium in almost 2 years, and that'll be it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, that sounds reasonable to me, man. Again, I might even avoid making a prediction today because it's like,
oh no, we're not going to let you do that.
Yeah, no, you're on the hook.
You're right. You're right. I'm tripping. Because my thing is this: like, every single time that we play a game that you think we're going to just come out there and dominate and assert ourselves, like, those are always the one that makes you the most nervous. Like, that's why I don't blame you for not sounding confident. It's like, how can you sound confident?
It's not even sounding confident. It's just that we're delaying the inevitable at this point. We're gonna win. Everybody's gonna think we're still in it, and then we're gonna go in and end up getting our asses kicked in Buffalo, twice against Tampa Bay,
Yeah,
Rule's
man.
going to be here for another year, and we're going to go through this vicious cycle again next year where we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, that Panthers purgatory, man.
Yep.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm calling it. That Panthers purgatory. We gotta get out of it, man. Brad, what do you think's gonna happen against Atlanta, man? Do we get a road, or no, not a road? Do we get a rare home victory?
All right, I think it's going to be 24-21 Atlanta. I think
Oh,
Jesus,
Brad.
I think Cordero Patterson is going to run wild on our defensive line. I mean, after Miami, I am not picking them to win another game. I'm just not. I do not feel comfortable in this team. The thing that I will say about I think the Falcons have over us, I think Arthur Smith is a better coach. I think he does a better job with that team. I think that they're at least trending in a positive direction in his first year. And we are not trending in any direction. We're just kind of hanging pat. So, I mean, I just have zero confidence in this team at this point. And to be quite frank, I just want to watch the world burn. So, I mean,
dude, I appreciate that mentality. I've been there so many times, and I'm kind of there now, man. It's like, why should you believe in a team just for them to, like, you know, we have no reason to believe in them. So I get that. I understand that. You've got a field goal margin. By the way, did y'all see that? The Panthers were -3 home favorites, but then sometime after Matt Rhule made
it dropped.
the Brady Christensen quote, it dropped to -2.
Wow.
So
2.5. It went to -2.5.
Yeah,
Now,
so like now we're not even a home favorite no more.
But the thing is, a -3 is pretty much a push. Like every home team starts with -3. So you already came in, it was pretty much even money.
Right.
And
that's what I'm saying.
And then you drop a half a point because you're talking about Brady Christensen guard and I think everybody was picking Atlanta. So yeah.
Man, that's
well, and you know, we always split with Atlanta. That just seems to be like how it goes. So I mean, we're due for our comeuppance. So, and like I said, I made a statement after we beat the Arizona Cardinals and Cam came back that we could win the division, and I'm just bitter because my heart is broken at this point. So
mine too, man. I think all of ours is all of our hearts are broken.
No, my heart's not broken. I'm just pissed at Matt Rhule.
Yeah, I'm pissed too. And like the fact that it really pisses me off, and that's why I agree with Brad sometimes. It's like if we lost, it could be a blessing in disguise, because what I feel like I know for a fact is Matt Rhule cannot evaluate talent. Look at who he's passed on. Look at the quarterbacks that he's brought in. That's why no one trusts him to bring in another quarterback. And his mismanagement of this offensive line is borderline criminal. Especially
borderline, it is criminal.
Especially if Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown go on to have good NFL careers. Dude, that's unacceptable, man. It's absolutely unacceptable.
He should have never been hired as the head coach of the NFL. There's way too many people that have better records and experience and the whole 9 yards than he does. Go back and look at Baylor and Temple.
His OC.
They wasn't like they won championships. They didn't even win bowl games. They had a good season, but that's all they did. And as soon as they had a good season, he was out somewhere else.
People are saying that Baylor is better with their new coach than they were with Matt Rhule.
I've heard that.
He won a Big 12 championship. The current coach won the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, he was
something
third,
that Matt's never done.
He was third for AP Coach of the Year, right? I mean, he was third in the AP Coach of the Year voting. How
about this? Jeff Nixon has a better resume than he does.
Listen,
Jeff Nixon got the better resume.
We ain't really getting to the conversation about Mr. Nixon, man. But
I know what conversation you want to have, man. I hear you. You're allowed to say whatever you want. I do think that Jeff Nixon. Let me tell you this though. I do think that if Jeff Nixon shows a sign of life, I do think that will be our offensive coordinator next year. I really do. I don't think that we're going to. If Dave is right and if Matt Rhule is going to be here for another year, I don't see them bringing in some,
No,
you
they
know,
won't.
If they
offensive
do well,
coordinator
you
from-
can't. You can't. Like if they,
Yeah,
if,
that's what I'm
if
saying.
Jeff Nixon does well, and you still bring in a new guy, I'm
Yeah,
gonna be having more
that-
questions.
Yeah,
Well,
that's when you know it's
This is his first
it
OC
is-
job.
yeah for the OC.
No, he
Yeah.
was an OC at
He
Baylor.
was an OC. He was an OC for Baylor. He was an OC for Matt Rhule. That's what makes it crazy
Right.
to me.
Well, and see,
Like-
that's the thing that people don't realize, right? In his press conference after he fired Joe Brady, Matt Rhule straight up came out and said, "I did something when I came here that wasn't in my comfort zone, that was bold." Right? He's on record for not wanting to. The nepotism that he's willing to show other coaches and other players it's known. It's a known fact. He keeps going back to that Baylor Temple well, and he's not going to deviate from it, no matter how long he's here. So I'm going to be honest with you. Even if we lose every game this year, he's probably our offensive coordinator next year.
I mean, I don't know. To me, if we show some signs of life, I think it's going to stay the same. If not, I think everyone's on the hot seat, man. And I really believe that.
I just feel like I feel more comfortable with somebody who's actually called plays, who has experience calling plays, and can actually game plan and actually win games, even though it's college. I trust that more than a guy that showed up and it was just a passing game coordinator who
Hold on.
plays.
Hold on. Let me be fair. So at Baylor from 2017 to 2019, he was the co-offensive coordinator and running backs coach. So
and play caller.
Yeah.
He
so
played,
yeah.
he called plays.
Right. So like but to say that he has been so he does have experience calling plays, but to this point he has never been by himself.
He won't be by himself this week because remember,
he won't be by himself this week.
It's a whole offensive group.
Right. True.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I do think he is going to have a chance to, play for his job. See if he's able to get this next year. But
it tends to happen this way, man. Some young kid gets the opportunity, doesn't have as much experience as somebody else laying in the wings, and then the guy that's laying in the wings got to clean the shit up.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to clean the shit up.
I know that very well.
Hey,
can't make this up, man.
No, you're right. Let's go to Kenneth. Panther Pickle, give me your prediction and what do you think is going to be the story of the game? What's going to turn it one way or the other?
10-14, Atlanta.
Oh my God, guys!
Man,
I want to believe. I've been bouncing through this game all week. I really have, and the Falcons don't show me no more. Carolina does, but
True.
Where the game's going to be played?
Here in Carolina.
Exactly. Who's
Yep.
liable to show up more, the Falcons or the Panther fans?
Falcon fans.
Well, okay, hold on.
I mean,
to be fair,
I think we'll show up for this
Falcons
one.
fans are pretty damn pathetic too.
They don't travel.
You're right.
Falcons fans don't travel like that.
They really don't travel. They're
just-
some pathetic ass fans.
The
man.
bottom line is, I want to believe. I like Jeff Nixon. I want to believe in Carolina, but I haven't seen anything that says, "Hey, we can do it."
Yeah.
The only person this week that has got up there and says that has spoke well enough that I'm impressed, not counting Jeff Nixon, is Cam Newton.
Yeah.
And
Cam
the defense pretty much sounds like they've thrown in the towel. The defense I needed to see the defense playing like they did earlier this year. Then I'll have a little bit of faith.
Listen, man.
Dave, all right. So look, Dave, you're upset at all these Falcon picks you're hearing. Man.
I am. I'm very upset.
So okay, tell me something different. Drop the insight. What's it actually going to be?
I can't remember. Like I picked Carolina to win, but my memory can't serve me well about the score. So I know it might be different from what I said during the show earlier this week.
Yep.
But I got Carolina winning 21-13. I think I said something like that in an earlier show. I just feel like Carolina is going to get some level of joltness on the offensive side of the ball. I think the defense is going to play better than what they have in the past few games, and I think we're gonna clear this one out. I think there's going to be a different level of focus. I know that Cam wants to get his first win. And I think he realizes that if he doesn't get the first win here, he might not get one. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's gotta get this one
And bro,
because it doesn't get easy after this, man.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
playing the lane.
Yeah,
he's
I
not.
mean,
It's not gonna get easier after this. Like,
No.
if he can't get it here, then we're gonna have to have a different discussion about Cam that I don't think this fan base is ready to have a discussion of.
And look,
That's
man,
the reality.
I'll try and you know,
All them jerseys I bought is gonna be for naught, man. I'm only
Yeah,
gonna have it for
man.
6-7 games.
I'll call it now. I think if Cam Newton, if we don't win this game, which like I said, I don't think we will, I'm willing to bet you we see Sam Darnold before the end of the season.
I might agree with you, Brad. I'm gonna be honest, because the thing is, I think people don't realize how close Sam is to that starting job. Like, I don't think folks understand that there could be a legitimate scenario going into next season that Sam Darnold's our starter. Like, I don't think you guys are ready to accept this. But I'm here to help you accept, because I'm here to let you know that man's about to make $19 million.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go and get if we go out here and pay, and we probably will pay Cam and just bite the bullet on Sam. But if Cam comes out here and he can't get any wins, can't collect some wins, closing off this season, don't be surprised if Sam's the starter next year and we don't re-sign Cam. And quite frankly, if Rhule is our coach, you kind of want him to get his ass out of this. He got to dig himself out of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, how about this? That was part of the reason why we didn't want Cam to come back to this scenario.
Yeah,
I remember saying, like, bro, let's spare Cam the hell of coming back here, man. But dude, and listen, no, Dave, I've been saying what you have, man. Like, y'all better pull for Cam Newton. If you're in the chat and you've ever considered yourself a Cam Newton hater, look, he can't be worse than Sam Darnold. And he isn't worse than Sam Darnold. We all have to hope and pray that you see some sign. No, I don't care. No.
I'm gonna tell you.
Let me tell you something.
Sam Darnold is our quarterback next year. C3 and PNP. Y'all better have therapy sessions every damn night, because we gonna need it.
We might lose all of our viewers.
I ain't got enough hours. I ain't got enough hours after work to give you guys therapy sessions every day. Okay,
Bro.
I ain't got enough of that. I'll get you. I got you Monday. Maybe I'll sneak one in there for Tuesday. Pre-fantasy show or something like that.
Tuesday. C3 will have Tuesday, then I need you back on Wednesday. So
listen, bro, I cannot listen. I understand, but it's just the reality.
We gotta be here for the fans, Dave.
We gotta. No, I know. You gotta understand that. We gotta understand, like, when personnel decisions are made, eventually you're gonna have to eat this shit. Like, we are eating it now with Teddy. Teddy out here costing us $17 million in our cap, and he's out here winning games for another squad right now.
But again, I don't want to start a whole nother conversation with this, but it's like, it goes back to David Tepper. Sam Darnold doesn't put butts in seats. He doesn't inspire confidence in any of the Panther fan base.
People ain't gonna buy tickets to those games.
I don't think David Tepper is gonna let Sam Darnold be the quarterback next year, man.
Why has David Tepper been silent all year?
Look at how much money they paid Teddy Bridgewater. David Tepper, in his press conference, mentioned the quarterback position, and then Teddy Bridgewater is traded out the door. Tepper don't give a damn. He don't care how much they cost.
Tepper don't give a damn until he realizes that eventually, if you keep doing this shit, nobody's going to sign for you unless you're willing to overpay them. We're gonna be out here having Cam Irvin, and Pat Eflin day one free agency pickups. Like, nobody's going to sign for you.
None of these free agents are coming to play for Matt Rhule.
Nope.
True.
Not at all.
Unless they're from Temple. Unless they're from Temple.
Yeah, how many of them are good?
Or Baylor. Be fair, Brad.
Or Baylor.
Or Baylor.
I know.
Or if he recruited him.
Or if the white
pick it.
Yep.
He's not. I'll say it again. If he has an issue with Brady Christensen's arms, he's going to have just a field day with the little fingers on Kenny Pickett.
Again,
I agree that this is Matt Rhule.
Because Kenny Pickett was going to Temple before Matt Rhule left.
I get that, but like, he's got
anybody
baby
could
hairs.
do that, Matt Rhule would do it. This is Matt Rhule here we're talking about.
Yeah, and but by the way, it just now dawned on me. Whenever you see Kenny Pickett playing, who's always wearing gloves.
2 gloves.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's why.
All right,
You
now I'm
did-
having
you did-
flashbacks to David Carr, man. Don't do this.
Oh man! All
I'm having
right,
flashbacks to David Carr. So I'm out
Kevin.
here.
Kevin, you're the only one who has not given us a prediction. Well, I guess I haven't either. I guess since everybody
Because it
insists,
seems like
I
I'm
got
the only one
to.
that's going to be out here picking Carolina. So, sheesh.
Well,
Now,
Kevin, what?
before we go to Kevin, let me be clear because I said this during the analysis show for Atlanta. I'll say this here. I've been terrible with these damn picks. When I pick Carolina to lose, they win. When I pick Carolina to win, they lose. It's been ugly this year. So it's been ugly. So
I'm
Kevin,
I'll
now,
do that for you guys.
Kevin, what you think, man? What you think about this game? Who's gonna win? And whoever wins, why did they win?
I predict 24-10 Carolina.
There you go.
I think we're going to run all over them. I think it's going to be a 3-headed monster running back.
I sure
Or
hope
maybe
you're right.
2. But I also predict I'm going to be at the game. So I predict I'm going to be drunk at the game.
Oh shit!
And when we beat Atlanta, I'm going to be yelling 28-3 at Falcons fans.
Yeah.
As you should. As you
Hey,
should,
listen.
sir.
If you, I don't ever condone fights, but if for whatever reason you do get in a drunken fist fight with a Falcons fan,
Yeah.
knock his ass out, bro.
Good job.
If you get on
Knock his
get on camera, make sure you yell C3.
Kevin,
Yes.
hear me out, bro. Don't be out here going to jail over some damn Falcons fan.
Bro, fucking
Don't be
knock
out
their
here.
ass out, bro.
Like you gonna go to jail?
Nah.
Yo, you
Knock
gotta make that
their
shit
ass
count.
out,
Like you
bro.
can't be out here going to jail over a drunk fan. That ain't the
Bro,
business.
give him a
That ain't it.
backhand across the face.
That ain't
Sorry
the
ass
business.
Falcon fan.
He ain't gonna pay
Get
for
out
your
of the
bail,
bank.
bro. He ain't gonna
Get
pay
out
for
of
your
the
bail,
bank.
Kevin.
Bro, serve him these fish for dinner, bro. But anyway, man, let me get to my prediction here. Look, man, like I'm gonna keep it real, man. I think that this game has the potential to be a little more high scoring than you might think. And I know that might sound crazy, y'all, but I'm going to say the final score is going to be 27-31. And I think the Panthers are finally going to get a home victory. I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to see Jeff Nixon utilize Abdullah and Chuba Hubbard. And I think we're going to run the football. I think we're going to try and be aggressive, might do some play action pass. But then I can also see what's the guy Atlanta's got that's
Patterson.
Cordell Patterson.
Cordell's
man.
gonna be a problem, bro.
Yeah, I could easily see Cordero, man, just doing, when the Panthers defense have bad days, they're real bad. And Cordero Patterson seems like the kind of player that would, have a day against the Panthers. So, I hope I'm right, man, because look, how about this? If the Panthers lose to the Falcons, our season is officially over.
Oh, that's a fact.
It's
Yeah.
If we
officially
can't beat Atlanta, you can go and mail that up.
Well,
Like if we beat Atlanta, we got playoff. We still got some playoff hope.
I said that
then
the
we
last
can-
couple of games, though.
Yeah.
No, but if we don't, I know. But the thing is, all these other teams in the NFC don't want the playoff spot.
Yeah, apparently.
They don't.
Yeah,
I
the
don't
Rams
want
are
it either.
losing. Yeah, the Rams are starting to backslide a little bit. Yeah, man, dude, that's what I'm saying. The NFL, there's so much.
Everybody we're in the group with that for that last playoff spot, they've already beaten us.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't have the
Well,
tiebreaker over us, man.
And I mean, I'm gonna reiterate.
Yeah,
what
but
Cam
it
Newton
ain't.
said earlier this
But if
week,
it's a,
right?
but
He
if it's a
said
three-way
Cam Newton-
tie,
Right. But Cam Newton earlier this week said playoffs. I don't want to talk about playoffs. I just want to win. Right.
Yeah, that's right, man. We
Just
gotta
gotta
focus on
remember
the
that.
game in front of us. We gotta focus on the game in front of
That's
us,
true.
man. And look,
That's
y'all, I'm
true.
telling you, man, that y'all don't realize how important these next few games are, man. A lot of y'all in the chat room were cringing when Dave was talking about Sam being our starter next year. That is not outside the realm of possibility. So y'all
That's a
have
fact.
to, y'all,
Yeah,
yo,
if you
if
guys
you're,
like-
if you're,
oh, here we
if-
go.
if-
Let's get ready.
if you're a
For
person
all
with
you
faith,
tankers, for y'all you tankers out there in these streets, or
There's no one
you
to
tank
tank
you tank men, you tank people, you tank truthers.
That
If
was
you
me
love
last
Cam,
year.
if you love Cam, you do not want to tank.
That's
No.
You know what I
right.
mean? Because if you
Not
love
this
Cam,
year.
you want him on the roster next year. He on the roster if
Yes.
you tank.
But if you're pro tank, if you're anti tank, you want Cam Newton to be successful.
If
Because
you don't
one,
want
there's
us to draft a quarterback in the first
Well,
round,
yeah, but
But that ain't
one,
gonna
yeah,
happen next year.
there's no one to tank for, and number two, we only have one pick in the top 100.
yeah.
So it's like we don't even have. It'd be one thing if we were picking at the top of the second, the top of the third, but that's not the scenario. So there's no reason to tank. If you're a man of faith, a man or woman of faith, you better be praying for Cam Jarrell Newton to come out here and ball, y'all. That's all I'm gonna say, man.
And I'll provide an asterisk with this.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how well Cam Newton plays. If we still lose, he's still done. It doesn't matter how well he plays.
I don't know about
Period.
Dunn. I disagree with you, man. I don't think Dunn. I don't think he has a long leash in Carolina,
Well-
no matter what. But I think
Right.
that he could be back next year as a starter if he looks good down the stretch, and that doesn't even prevent them from drafting a quarterback if they want one.
Yeah, but I mean, I really think it depends. Like if his production doesn't translate to wins, it's gonna be a problem.
Well, if
He's not
that's the
gonna be
case
back
and he
here.
plays well, that means the defense didn't play well. You can't blame Cam if the defense doesn't play well. If he's putting
Don't
up
worry.
20 if
Let me
he's
tell
putting
you
up
something.
25
They will
plus
anyway.
points and they're still losing, that's not on Cam. That's on the defense.
The QB stat is the most overrated stat in
Period.
American sports. Period.
Yeah.
Look at
And
Mac
if,
Jones
and if
last
Monday Night Football doesn't show you that,
week. Yeah.
nothing will. The
Yeah.
dude had the highest quarterback rating for all the rookies, and he only threw 3 passes.
Did we
Yeah,
play
that's pretty funny, man.
Buffalo at Buffalo?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
played them at Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah,
We just do what New England did, just-
o'clock.
We got plenty of running backs. We can just do what they did and get Cam.
And look, that saying any given Sunday.
I think that
is
gives us a
true,
better
man.
shot to win.
Yeah, I
Actually,
mean, look, and Buffalo, they have issues right now, and it's not like there isn't a recipe for success moving forward, but we have to win the game in front of us, and right now we haven't even proved that we can win a game at home. So right now you have a division rival, one of maybe our most hated division rival. They're at home. Imagine being able to say that we went 2-0 against the Falcons this year. That might be the only victory that we can claim out of this season. At least to give us that,
I'd rather
man.
be 2-0
Come
against the
on.
Saints.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, man. Dude, that would be a
I think
nice
Sean
feather in
Payton
the
will
cap.
out-coach Matt Rhule. Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to say this real quick. I meant
Yep.
to have Cody post a picture I posted on Twitter earlier today, and I forgot, and it's probably too late to have you post it now.
I can check it out.
Okay.
is-
The one with Jack Nicholas.
The one with I gotta
The
find my
golfer?
messages. With you said Jack Nicholas?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Oh yeah, this one. Okay.
I want to dedicate this to all the young Panther fans out there. To Panther fans in their 20s that think football life sucks. Panther life hasn't even begun to kick your ass yet. Buckle up, Buttercups.
Oh no.
I mean,
No.
that's just the Panther way.
Oh, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, man.
I don't know,
Because
that's some
if
pretty
Matt
good
Rhule
years as a
stays
Panther
on this
fan.
team through next year, it's going to take us over 5 to 7 years to overcome it.
I've
Oh,
seen
hey,
Super
but
Bowls
before
in
we,
my
hey,
lifetime.
Or if we trade that much, or if we trade what they want for a quarterback who's currently a veteran.
hey, before we go, does Cam Irving last the whole game?
Nope.
No.
No.
Daly, I've said this all week.
I love how everyone's
Y'all
just
are
like,
tough,
no.
Daly or Cam, one will get hurt, and
Yeah.
when they do,
Bro, everyone's like,
either
no,
for whichever get hurt.
Immediately.
Yeah,
no.
One, if Cam gets hurt, Brady's going to switch over to left tackle to cover him,
No, they're
or
not. They're
if
not gonna put
Daly
him
gets
there.
No, he
hurt,
won't.
well, who's going to start?
Daly. Daly gonna move
I-
Daly's ass over there.
Daly will move over.
Then
Yeah,
if
I
they
mean,
move
they
Daly
might-
over, that means Deontay Brown's coming in at
Yeah,
guard.
either way,
Yeah.
Deontay Brown
wanna
is
see
coming off the
Deontay Brown.
bench. However you look at it, Deontay Brown's coming off the bench.
That's not a
That might
bad
be the-
So
scenario.
we better hope
Yeah.
we better hope that our confidence in Deontay Brown is worth.
Well,
Because
but
if he
again,
comes out there and
Yeah, but okay.
totally humiliated,
If-
Matt
but-
Rhule's going to say, "I told you so."
But if it comes out there and looks bad, he hasn't been in a position to look successful. He's been, you have rookie mistakes. You get those out of the way at the start of the season and coach him up. But it's like, and then I have no doubt he's going to do the same thing to Deontay Brown that he did to Brady Christensen. But Deontay Brown didn't play too great. So
Got
it's
short
like,
feet.
it's dumb, man. It's
I
really
agree.
dumb.
I agree. I don't think Matt Rhule is. He can't scout talent. He can't find talent. He can't develop talent. If I could ask David Tepper one question face to face, I might get smacked. I might never see the light of day. But that question's going to be, what kind of dumbass hires Matt Rhule to a 7-year contract as a NFL head coach?
He's
Well-
a team
Explain to
that
me how this
inspires
logic come to
OC
be.
without
Well,
having
he
to
might.
use it.
You know what, Kenneth? He might slap you, but it'll be with a bag full of money.
I sure hope it's on camera. I'll never work another day of my life.
Yeah, all right. So him for a
You're
cool
damn
100
right.
million. That's chump change for
Yeah.
him.
But hey, let me tell you what. You'll see the biggest love gift C3's ever seen in their life.
Hey, that's what it is. And you know what? That's a
I'll
good
even
note.
give some to PNP.
That's
I'll be generous for that money.
Look,
a
man,
good note to go
If I
out
can
on,
retire,
man.
man, I'm an advocate of it.
Spend them dollars on your boy. Look, that is another edition of the C3 Friday Free For All. Once again, gentlemen, I appreciate you all for coming to hang out and be a part of the show. Once again, if you have not done so already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live to give you this Panther therapy that you're so desperately in need of. You know we got you covered. Whoever wants to plug something, shout something out, this is your opportunity to do so. Does anybody have something they want to plug or say to the people before we get out of here?
I'll go in and plug it. Since some of you guys are in the tank game, you know what I'm saying? You've been knowing about Panther Nation podcast. Let me tell you guys something. Rashad is already in the lab doing these draft videos. He's already started. We've already got a couple up. Become a patron. You get early access to them. Only costs you $3. So patreon.com/PantherNationPC.
Yeah, man. I'm going to be starting mine up here soon, too. I'm trying to I have an idea for how I'm going to do some draft content this year. I'm still working on it, though. But y'all might like it. Keep your eyes peeled to this channel, man, because we're going to be doing some really cool draft content as well, man. It's sad enough as it is. It's already that time of season. All right, anybody else have anything that they want to shout or plug before we get out of here? All right, man. Then that concludes it for another edition of the C3 Friday Free For All. My name is Cody Lashing. I've been your host. I will be back Sunday for the post-game show here on this channel, and then every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Until then, Panther fans, keep pounding.